Hey everybody, you're tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Oh man, congratulations for making it. We're going to get the show started in just about a minute here, but before that, I want to give a big old congratulations to YouTube user Pingalingding. Congratulations for the first comment of the day award. Okay, folks, we are getting started here. I just want to remind everybody, remember, you're going to want to follow us on multiple platforms, especially you face like the sun, folks. Make sure to follow at youtube.com/canarycryradio, twitch.tv/canarycryradio. Certainly need to remember to follow our RSS feed. That's on whatever podcast catcher you want to use. Make sure to subscribe on that. And if you want to help us defeat the main boss of algorithms, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a show. And that'll help the algorithms realize that their big mistake by not sharing the show out. Okay, other than that, folks, stay hydrated and buckle your seatbelts, because here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 5th, 2021. This is episode 296. And today, oppressive extremism. That's right. You know me. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on all the chaotic world events out there. We're here to help you, folks.
No, we're here to help ourselves.
That's true.
You get to watch us help ourselves.
This is one big therapy session for you and I.
Yeah. Well, and if you're new to the show, we're here to mainly analyze the mainstream news that's coming out, but we also track trends and forces and all sorts of scary stuff going on in the world, and do it all within a biblical context and worldview. And we're happy to be here. What day is it, Gonz?
Friday.
Oh my gosh, it's Friday. Okay, that means we get to read some reviews later on in the show. If you have not left a rating and a review for Canary Cry News Talk yet, you should do that. And we'll be thanking some people later on the show for doing that. You can do that by searching Canary Cry News Talk on Apple Podcasts. Leave a rating and a review. Very helpful. Again, we're out to game the system. Jiu-jitsu those algorithms into helping us out for once. But other than that, just a quick reminder, make sure to like, subscribe, bell button, and all.
That's right.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
You know, I had a teacher that used to say Friday.
Friday.
It's Friday.
Yay.
I used to be very confused about that. Is it Friday or is it Friday?
It's Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's see here. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I have any news to go over beforehand. I'm trying to think. It's been kind of not very exciting week over here.
Well, other than the crypto markets going bananas over $1 trillion and climbing.
Yeah, things are, the roller coaster continues.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy watching it. But this is part of we're in the bull cycle now. We're in the uptrend of the bull market. So it looks very similar to 2017. If anybody was around in the crypto markets back then, it did a similar thing where it just goes crazy, goes up, and then it goes up again, and then it's blood in the streets for like a week, and then it everyone goes, it's over, and then it goes up again, and it does that for a few months, and then and then when you wake up and it goes parabolic, you know it's probably close to the top there. But it's crazy, all the celebrities coming out with crypto projects and NFTs and
Yeah, it's becoming very, it just continues to be an accessible form of alternative economics. Very interesting how that just continues. But what do you say we get into the show?
Yeah, before we do, we did a hashtag raffle, I guess, contest raffle back in December.
Wow.
And
Such confidence.
I don't know what to call it. What is it?
It was our social media blitz included
there you go.
with a custom crafted knife as a thank you gift to the winner of the raffle. And it was created by producer Nigel, who so graciously made his skills and materials available to fellow Canarians. And I think what you're getting at, Gons, is that we've got another social media blitz raffle this month.
We do. So go ahead and hashtag Canary Cry, share all over the
we got to be very
nets.
specific because lots of people, not lots, but there was some confusion last time. So here's what's going to happen. We are going to run this all the way through the month of February. And the way to participate goes like this. You will post a social media post on Twitter or Facebook or, whatever else you do. I would say if you are posting on some sort of obscure thing, like if you're on, I don't know, Parler or something like that we are not on, the best way to make sure that your ticket gets counted, is to take a screenshot of it and email it to us at canarycryradio@protonmail.com. That'll just make sure you get on the list. But also, you absolutely must use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. Because if you don't do that, then we just won't see it. There's no way for us to find it. And although we will appreciate you talking about us on social media, you won't make it into the raffle. So there you go. So now there's 3 conditions. One of the conditions is you must use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. The second condition is you must say something. You can't just simply post hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. You got to talk about it or urge people to listen to it or watch it or whatever. And then lastly, you must link to an episode of Canary Cry News Talk or the website or something like that. Some sort of tangible thing that people can click on and be ushered into the world of Canary Cry. So there you go. That's 3 things. You can write them down if you want. You need to hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. You got to say something, preferably nice about it. And then you need to link to a piece of Canary Cry News Talk media. You can do that by linking to one of our past episodes on YouTube or Twitch, or post the link to a podcast episode on Apple Podcasts, something like that. I'll even allow, posting canarycry.community if you're trying to drive people to that. But but it must be something that's actionable. No, just posting a picture of my, I don't know, Twitter picture or something. In that, I will include on a clickable action item, you can also put Gon's, either Gonz's Twitter, my Twitter, or at Canary Cry Radio. Probably, preferably at Canary Cry Radio.
People are saying it's too complicated.
Well, sorry. I mean, it's really not that complicated.
Share the show, add hashtag Canary Cry News Talk when you do.
Yeah, it's really easy. You just go, hey, everybody, listen to this great show. Hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and then a link to follow. Really easy to do. And we're going to be going all the way through February. We'll be keeping track of that. If you want to doubly make sure your post gets counted, especially if you're on some obscure social media site, send us a screenshot of it. And there you go. And Gons, what is February's prize?
Right. So we had the custom-made knife last time. This time we're going to give away a silver ounce coin. It's a 1 ounce .999 silver 2A proof round. And
how relevant could we possibly be? It's incredible.
Yeah, so this is thanks to producer Aaron. And producer Aaron does have a YouTube channel, and you can check it out here. It's Aaron Lane Moffett. And I'll leave a link in the description of this episode, and I think just all the episodes in February. Go check out her channel.
Yeah, wait, what did you say the YouTube link was?
It's a really obscure link, but
Well, she's got her channel. We've talked about her channel before.
yeah, her channel is Aaron Lane Moffett. But the link, I don't think she has the name as part of the link. So you know how we have youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio. I don't think she has that as a link there. So we'll have it hyperlinked on our website so people can go check that out. But she works with a company called 7K Metals. She said they were the only company that sold Silver Eagles when everybody else had to shut down over the silver squeeze last week. So so they got some supplies, and so it's a beautiful silver coin. And yeah, if you want to pick up a silver coin, 0.999 fineness, like that, you can participate. And it's a random selection, right? A random generated thing. So
is officially a randomly selected raffle, but you are able to enter the raffle as many times as you'd like, as long as the post includes the 3 mandatory things, which is the hashtag, the link, and some sort of call to action or something like that, just to avoid people sort of spamming, just tweeting the hashtag 1,000 times.
Right.
You got to make, it's got to be a real thing.
Cool. So there you go. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to see what kind of people we can get to check out the show.
Yeah, it was
fun.
really helpful last time. We only did it for a week, and it really did a lot to drive people to find the show. A lot of people found the show through that. And so not only are you participating to, win an awesome silver coin that can go into your wealth storage collection, which, I mean, what a time to get a silver coin. This is perfect.
I know.
But you're also going a long way to helping more people find the show, and ultimately, get connected with other truth-seeking people, and, getting the word about Jesus out there all at the same time. So It's a win-win-win-win-win-win.
Yep.
Okay, we'll talk more about that later, but let's get into the show, Guns.
Sleepy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okie dokie, folk. It's time for the
Okie dokie, folk.
Okie dokie, folk.
The one
Singular
folk.
Yeah.
Hey, folk.
We are talking about Flippy. If you don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore how robotics and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, I got this article from MarineCorpsTimes.com, and the headline is, Marines need to trust their robots like they trust each other, Commandant says. Marine Corps Commandant General David Berger sees Marines trusting robot partners as vital to how he expects them to fight in the near future. Quote, I believe in man-unmanned teaming. It will enable Marines to be more lethal, Berger said at the annual National Defense Industrial Association Expeditionary Warfare Conference on Tuesday. Interesting how he said it will enable Marines to be more lethal. Because, a lot of times with these sort of statements, they'll use words like, allow our Marines to be more effective or more efficient, or, help them protect the safety of Americans. They're just like, no, robots will help our Marines kill.
Just being honest.
Yeah, no, I know. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace there. Now that Biden's president, they can talk about killing people.
Reality grounded people saying things in government and military. Perfect.
The problem, he said, is that some unmanned options are available now, but Marines don't trust them. Quote, the same way a squad leader trusts his or her Marine, they have to trust his or her machine, Berger said. Berger pointed to a research test by a Marine major recently reported on by Marine Corps Times, in which two groups of Marines used a robot partner in a task. Those Marines who trained the machine themselves trusted it more than those who were simply given a robot they were told had been programmed for the task. Quote, if that's the human element of this, how do we get technologies into Marines' hands so that they can not just train with it, but trust it, Berger said. That connection falls closely within the efforts of the past 18 months since Berger released his Commandant's Planning Guidance Initiative and kicked off major force restructuring efforts to meet future threats. Part of that initiative looks for sheer numbers of cheaper, expendable platforms, especially air, ground, surface, and subsurface drones, to overwhelm enemy defenses rather than premium, costly platforms. So that's fun. Just a whole bunch of cheap explodey robots rather than, Terminator style. The commandant listed long-range precision fires, specifically ground-based anti-ship missiles, at the top of his needs for moving the Corps to a better position for countering China and other near-peer adversaries. Near peer, that's fun. But that program took a major hit, seeing severe cuts to funding in the most recent defense spending bill. The Corps wanted $64 million for ground-based anti-ship missiles and $75 million for long-range fires, but Congress cut ground-based anti-ship missiles by half and reduced long-range fire programs by a quarter. Berger admitted the Corps had, quote, lost time on long-range precision fires due to those cuts. Quote, and that's on me, he said. I have to do a better job with key members of the Hill of convincing them. On a separate presentation, Lieutenant General Eric Smith, Commanding General of Marine Corps Combat Development Command, noted the focus on long-range fires, but added the importance of communications passing data, yada, yada, yada. They stopped talking about robots, and that's when I lose interest. But I thought it was interesting. A couple of things. One, that the Marines that did the training of their robots trusted their robots more than pre-programmed robots, which kind of has like a canine feel to it, you know?
I think that was the idea. Try to get that canine feel, that man,
the idea
man's
of what?
best friend. No, the whole, because it looks like, it's the Spot-ish robot, right?
Right,
are they talking
and to be
about
clear,
any kind of
the robots they're talking about now are the mule robots. They're kind of a giant four-legged, maybe the size of a small cow, that are supposed to carry things for Marines and follow them around in the field, and more of like a utility bot rather than a lethal robot.
I want to know, can they swim?
Probably not.
Oh, well, what are you going to, you're a Marine, what are you going to do if you got to cross waters?
I don't know, Gons. I'm not the expert in this.
Well, that's probably why they don't trust him.
When we're talking about the positioning, we've talked about the personhood of robots. This is mainly about relationship between man and bot. Of course, in the commercial world, we've talked about making the robots look cuddly or look more human or less human or something to try to manipulate the feelings and the attitudes towards robots. In this case, you're not going to make this mule robot big and cuddly. If you're a Marine, you don't want a teddy bear following you around in the field.
Or do you?
It's more about this like companionship, this trust and companionship with the robot, which, when you think about the future of human robot relationships, this companionship thing is really, I think, as good as it could get. If it's between companionship versus, an overlord type of relationship, I think companionship works. But I don't know. This is very interesting. For some reason, it's bringing up movies of like Chappie or
Chappie. I was going to say, just in general, like Star Wars has that feel with C-3PO and R2-D2 and BB-8 and stuff. But also, I can picture like a remake of Saving Private Ryan or some other, not a remake, but like
with a robot.
With a robot,
yeah.
Yeah. Just add the robot in there for
Yeah.
sympathy points for, just to get it into the heads of the youngins that are going to be joining the military in the coming years.
Yeah.
To trust the robot, because you're not a complete unit unless you have the robot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's very interesting how this relationship building exercise, is taking place in more intense organization than like Sony selling a robot or something. These are life and death situations that these Marines are in, and they got to have a trustworthy relationship with their bot. Oh, man.
Why don't they just go straight to the mech suits? Is that just a budget issue, or is, because if they would probably trust the machine more if they just are able to control it and sit in it, rather than just have it be a separate thing.
I mean, I think it's a different utility.
Okay.
And certainly they are working on mech suits, but this ain't that.
The other thing, just to break this down and have some fun with it, this was all promoted by Marine Corps, you said Commandant, General David Berger. Is that Flippy? Is that a Flippy Golem? Does Flippy create
Flippy Berger?
You make
my gosh,
David
you're
Berger.
Connecting the dots.
There you go.
And yes, I did say Commandant, because that's what that word is.
That's my, I don't know. I would have said Commandant. But that's probably because I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yes, and everybody would have thought you're so silly. Silly guns. All right, well, there you go. That's the Flippy update. The continuation of the relationship between man and bot is apparently of utmost importance in our Marine Corps.
666. What? Architecturaldigest.com. Took a second to get that out. Sorry.
Cold reading the URL.
Well, I mean, I knew it was agriculture, and then the agricultural part kind of threw me off. Anyway,
it's architectural.
Well, architectural, whatever. I need.
Keep going. Keep moving.
I'm 5 days in without sugar, so my brain is rewiring itself.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. This Manhattan high-rise has changed its devilish address. Say goodbye to 666 Fifth Avenue.
Oh, Jared.
And hello to 660 Fifth. So, I think all the PR of Jared Kushner being the Antichrist maybe pushed him to reconsider the number there. They say the devil is in the details, but what if those details just so happen to include an actual address? That's the problem that's long plagued 666 Fifth Avenue, a Brookfield Properties commercial high-rise located between West 52nd and 53rd Street in Midtown Manhattan. But now it seems that building has once and for all put those troubles behind it, thanks to a conspicuous and fully legal address change, and will do away with that infamous 666 qualifier. So there you go. Doing some PR for the building.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, of course, this is Jared Kushner's building, isn't it?
I think he's part of funding it, but he might have sold it off. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with all the details. There's been some stuff legally that they're looking into that I've heard and seen a little bit of, but I haven't been keeping too close an eye on it recently, so I'm not sure. But yeah, Kushner was involved in the purchase of the building back in 2014, I think. Here we go. Brookfield Properties acquired for 99-year lease for $1.3 billion in 2018 from Kushner Companies. So Kushner sold it. It looks like.
Yeah, okay.
To Brookfield Properties. So maybe all right. So maybe it's these new guys. The Kushner didn't have a problem with it. Kushner was like, I like the 666. But these Brookfield guys.
That drove a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding Kushner.
Brookfield Properties, a 99-year lease? Holy moly.
Yeah, all those big buildings are done on these super long leases.
Yeah, that's like, hey, my children's children's children will take care of the final payment there. So there you go. That's just some 666 update. We got some 33s.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Seems to be an Illuminati dog whistle. And this one, commercialnews.com. New police unit seized 33 guns. And it says here, Danville, since mid-May last year, when the Danville Police Department Problem-Oriented Policing Unit, oh, that's a name, and Community Housing Unit started to the end of 2020, both have seized a total of 33 guns in the city.
Ooh, got him.
Yep, good job. There's more.
Messaging.
Yeah. This is patch.com. Vaccine use in Illinois. How many shots have been given? And according to the article, where did it go? Here it is. As of Wednesday, 55.9 million vaccine doses had been distributed in the country, with 3.8 million people receiving at least one dose. About 27.1 million have taken the first dose, and more than 6.4 million have received both doses of either the Pfizer, BioNTech, or Moderna vaccines. So there you go. They had to mention that among other numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
And one more 33 update very quickly. This 5G stock will boost its dividend by 33%.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which 5G stock?
Following better than expected fourth quarter earning results, Ericsson, that's Ericsson, that electronics company, board of directors plan to propose giving the company's dividend an impressive 33% boost at the annual general meeting in March. So yeah, if you get dividends from Ericsson, you'll get a nice boost there. 33%.
Okay.
Signaling to their people there with the 5G stock. I didn't know Ericsson was in 5G, but I guess all those companies are in 5G.
Yeah,
so.
I think all major telecom companies have to be in 5G, or else they'll
be left behind.
Due for the grave. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of tech and all that.
This is coming from MSN.com. The headline is Super Bowl 2021. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I'm reading it.
You're reading
Sue
it.
Yahoo. Super Bowl 2021 is first with no cash, no paper tickets. It's happening. Super Bowl 55 on Sunday in Tampa will be the first Super Bowl hosted at the home stadium of one of the teams in the game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It will also be the first Super Bowl starring the two most recent Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady.
I love the because you just don't do sports, and I admire you for that, and I love it when you mispronounce sports names.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, there you go.
Because he's my homie.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm turning into my father. So it's fitting that this Super Bowl will also bring two more firsts in the fan experience realm. Super Bowl 55 will be fully mobile ticketed for the 22,000 fans in attendance and fully cashless inside the stadium for all concessions. All attendees will need their smartphones for entry and for concession payments. It's not merely the first paperless Super Bowl, but the first paperless NFL game. That might sound like a change caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. What might sound like a change caused by the COVID-19 pandemic has actually been in the works for years. Well, we know that. When Visa re-upped its sponsorship as the official payment services provider of the NFL in 2019, its stated goal was for the cashless Super Bowl by 2025, but the pandemic hastened the timeline. The use of cashless payments and mobile ticketing has grown steadily at the last few Super Bowls, and the pandemic, quote, accelerated the shift to digitizing these operations, according to a spokesperson for Extreme Networks, the NFL's official Wi-Fi services provider. No cash whatsoever will be accepted at vendors inside Raymond James Stadium, and Visa will have kiosks outside the stadium to convert cash into gift cards for use at concession and souvenir stands. That's interesting because it's, you'd think for COVID-19, it's like, oh yeah, no cash. You don't want to be passing germs back and forth. But no, you still get gift cards and you pass those gift cards back and forth. And for anyone concerned that the mobile ticketing era means no more physical ticket as a souvenir, in March, the NFL will mail out each hard copy ticket to the person who made the initial purchase. You know what's funny? That is literally the biggest concern I had up until the point of this article.
The actual souvenir of a physical ticket.
Yeah, because, I still have tickets from I never went to a Super Bowl, but different games. And I went to the Olympics once. And, keep your ticket tubs.
Yeah, but the thing that you won't get to do is, get signatures from the players or something. That's part of it too. You get the tickets, you find people that are involved, and you
get the autograph.
You get autographs and stuff. Yeah, you won't have that, but you'll have 3,000 pictures from the event.
Yeah, right. So a couple interesting things here. I mean, 22,000 fans in attendance for this event is sort of like a really incredible step since COVID-19, where there's been like no public events that people can go to. And now, packing 22,000 people into the stands, that's a step towards normalcy. But, I mean, it's interesting how in order to get back to your new normal by attending football games, you must consent to the cashless society.
Yeah, and it says here that the 22,000 fans that'll be attending includes 7,500 vaccinated frontline healthcare workers. And all we've been hearing in the news is how vaccine doesn't prevent you from not transmitting the virus.
There's no scientific evidence that having the vaccine stops the transmission of the virus from you to someone else.
So what? Yeah, I don't know. The mixed messaging happening right now is pretty over the top.
Well, it's because Biden's president. We can all go back to normal now.
Well, no, but that's the thing. It's not all. Is this the transition right now where half the media has gotten the memo and the other half hasn't? Where
there is quite a battle, even within the medical, the top medical people in our country, like Fauci and his peers. There's even disagreements there, like with masks and double masking and things like that. Do you see the flip flop on double masking?
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's been there this whole time. I don't know why people think it suddenly started happening. It's just the inconsistencies. It's just, I think, hitting the mainstream. We know that. No, it's just interesting how it's hitting the mainstream now, and you can say it's the Biden presidency or whatever, but I don't know. It's just it does seem like different forces behind the scenes at work, and they don't exactly agree on how to move forward with the New World Order. It's like they work together to take out an animal or something, but they can't agree on who gets what piece or like how they're going to carry forward from this point.
That opens up the conversation of like when you talk about the Illuminati and whatever that means specifically, or the elites or those in power type of thing. That's kind of one of the levels. This sounds kind of condescending, but I can't figure out a different way to put it. But the levels of maturity of the idea of elite control, because the sort of initial level of that is everything is controlled by one group, and if something contradicts, it's like a on purpose psyop. And certainly that does happen in certain cases. But as you get deeper into the analysis of elite control, you kind of start to realize that there are conflicting groups or sects of elites that have, in different ways, if not conflicting motivations, conflicting ideas of who should hold the ultimate power.
Yeah, and this is ultimately, and it makes a lot of sense. If you're a Bible-believing Christian, it makes a lot more sense because the conspiracy is obviously physical, but it begins with the spiritual. It's a spiritual conspiracy. There's we wrestle not against flesh and blood. There's a spiritual component to it that is driving this. And so when there's a carnal or a fleshly sort of motivation that it gets added on top, you have different personal agendas at various levels. And if you think about, the throne of Satan, so to speak, and you're trying to climb that ladder, and you can sort of understand that in the modern sense of
Yeah, it's all
corporatism.
battling for power.
It's battling for power, stepping on the other guy to get ahead. And so that same principle would apply in the takeover of the world,
Right.
Different factions trying to beat each other out in climbing that mountain to the throne of God. Basically, it's the Tower of Babel thing. Let's build a tower, take out
and then
God.
you play King of the Hill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's something to keep in mind. I think people do miss that idea, or at least when they come in to realize that it's all one big scam, everything.
Yeah,
that's
you've
out
got
there.
a bunch of families who generally work toward domination, but they're all scrambling up over each other. And not just families, but the whole elite structure. It's a dog-eat-dog world at the top.
Infrastructure of the elite, yeah.
Do want to give a shout-out to Florida for making it happen.
Yeah,
no
Florida,
other state would allow 22,000 people to all gather in one place and scream and shout and drink.
It's true. Yeah,
unless it's a riot. This will be the biggest. Oh my gosh. This Super Bowl will be the biggest public gathering that didn't include setting police cars on fire.
Well, we don't know
over
that
the
yet.
past 18 months.
We don't know that yet.
Oh, that's true. Who knows?
You get a bunch of, especially if it's in Tampa, and you get a bunch of Tampa fans excited about their
Tampa
win.
better win, or else there might be some police cars on fire.
You don't watch sports, man. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. They're going to riot and flip over cars. That's what happens in sports.
Well, that would be just perfect for the people who are upset about this and want to have a reason to shut down any future big events. You have, if some rioting or some violence happens after this game, then that'll be a great reason to never allow another big meeting.
Are they all going to be socially distanced in the stadium? It's like 65,000 seats, 22,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, technically,
one every three seats, basically.
Yeah, you can have one person every 3 seats away from each other.
Oh gosh!
Which I'd say the seats are probably about 2 feet wide. That's 6 feet, baby. Yeah, you're fine. Social distance.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it an outdoor stadium, or is it?
Not sure. I don't know.
Domed?
I don't watch football.
Okay.
I don't watch this barbaric sport of football.
All right. Well, here you go. I mean, this is a great example. This is a nice little microcosm of sort of the macro plan that a lot of people have been analyzing and expected to happen with the COVID situation is, you lock them down, you take away freedoms, then you give a little bit of a freedom back, something that was totally normal before the lockdowns. You give them back just a little bit of it. But in order to get that freedom back, you must participate in the cashless society, which, of course, those who have listened to the show and other shows like ours know that the cashless society is a predominant theory when it comes to one world government and sort of general end of the world.
Although here's an argument on that front, because I've seen a lot of people, because of the whole crypto markets exploding, people saying, oh, don't buy Bitcoin or Ethereum. You're basically, next day you're going to wake up and you're going to have to take the mark of the beast to access that stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe later in the future, but it certainly is not how it works now. And when you think about a cashless society, we've gone over this before, but it's not just one thing that it's cashless. There are private ways to exchange cash, and that's part of, if you read the Bitcoin white paper, it's not necessarily private the way it is with paper cash at the moment, but the idea was to go peer-to-peer, person to person, without a middleman, without a financial institution in the middle, driving the economic exchange.
Right.
And there's a freedom to that. And much like the internet, I find it interesting, because much like the internet at the beginning was just open, free for all, just whatever, similar things could happen with a cashless type of society or a digital economy, where it's just kind of a free for all at first. And then as time goes on, it'll probably lock down, but it'll all depend on the people, on what people decide to use. And that's true now. Even if everybody decided to log off of Twitter and Facebook, those companies are done. But because we don't, they just kind of continue to be able to hold the corner on the marketplace of the street corner idea of internet interactions or whatever. But yeah, I just think it's
and interestingly enough, for those who have a firm understanding of cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency, as far as electronic money goes, and that includes your bank account and your dollars,
PayPal and all that stuff,
whatever. Cryptocurrency is kind of the cash of electronic money.
Yeah.
Mainly because that peer-to-peer thing, you can just send it straight to your friend without a middle company, which you cannot do with it's hard. This vocabulary is getting difficult. I was going to say digital dollar, but that's different. But your fiat currency.
That's the thing. So is this cashless society going to be controlled by a centralized government, or is it going to be more of a free of the people type of system?
This is Earth.
I know, I know, but
cryptocurrency being the cash version of electronic money.
And somebody in the chat, I forgot, Storm Rider asked, are blockchains good or bad? And it's kind of like, well, it depends. If you have a centralized blockchain,
is a computer good or bad?
Right.
Is any technology good or bad? It just depends.
Yeah, we won't get into it too much now, but yeah,
it's all
a big conversation, and we've done it before. All right, here we go. Let's get into some vaccine stuff.
Oh my gosh.
A pandemic special.
Get this man some sugar. He's jittering over here.
Me, I know. I think I need like a.
He's on edge, man.
I need like tea or something. Maybe I should get some tea.
Yeah.
Oh, Canada.
We've been keeping up with our friends from the north here, and there's some video footage that came out. Ezra Levant shared this clip of some men in some gear. It looks like they're at
looks like the Canadian version of riot gear is what it looks like.
They have this big circular shield. It kind of looks like not the equivalent of paintball if it wasn't paintball but baton.
It looks like a LARPing shield. Like it looks padded, which is strange.
looks so strange. So anyway, I'll play the clip here. The audio doesn't really give justice to what's happening, but you will hear a whack. And that's a man sitting on the ground, not doing anything, getting hit. They got these guys in gear.
Yeah, very peaceful young man sitting on some grass.
They got
just kind of looking around, wondering what's happening.
This looks way more intense than it should be. Yeah, they're yelling at each other and whack.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this video, for those who are just listening to the podcast version, do you know where this was? What event this was? Was this a peaceful protest against the Canadian shenanigans?
I think that it was something of that nature, yeah.
Yeah, and there's this kid just sitting, he's got to be in his 20s, just sitting on the grass peacefully, kind of looking around. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. And this Canadian police officer, he's not doing anything. He's not even facing them. He's facing the opposite direction.
And sitting on the ground.
Sitting on the ground, just kind of looking around. And this police officer just thwaps him a couple times for no reason with this baton. It's really, I mean, the kid doesn't look too disturbed by it. I mean, it's a pretty decent little thwap. But he's just kind of like, he's just kind of taking it. Which certainly is, he holds his composure for being on a police brutality video that will soon spread across the globe.
Yeah, or Pancake, whichever you decide to subscribe by. But yeah,
Sure.
This is I know this is awful. Like what is happening? Obviously in Canada, the Trudeau thing, and I think they're rolling out some pretty draconian measures up there. But
yeah,
it just doesn't look good. It's not even scary, really. Like
somebody is saying that this isn't Canada.
Really?
Is this or is this not Canada?
I was under the impression that this is Canada, but maybe it's
somebody
not.
Mentioned Netherlands. I mean, it does kind of have a little bit of a Euro vibe to it.
Yeah,
and it is wintertime and there's no snow. So maybe this isn't Canada.
All right. Well,
this could be one of the things going on over in
in the
over in
Netherlands.
the Netherlands. Yeah, there's a lot of the EU states are having similar situations. So it doesn't matter where it's happening, I suppose. But yeah, just a little bit of little dose of calm police brutality.
Yeah, I think this one is Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, protests from earlier today outside the Radisson Hotel on Dixon Road in Toronto. And you'll hear a little bit more of this. This is just people protesting. It's just a shouting match, really.
And this is in response to they figured out where the Canadian government quarantine hotels
Right.
were, and it turns out that Radisson hotels are being used for this.
It's funny because there's a lady standing on a rock with a megaphone shouting stuff, and then you can hear, if you listen carefully, you can kind of hear the police officer. I don't know if it's them or if it's another person with another horn yelling at them, but I don't know. It's interesting to say the least, but I don't know if this is doing anything other than escalating tensions.
You mean them protesting?
Yeah. I mean,
are you ragging on these people who are protesting against government quarantines?
I'm not ragging on them.
Oh, okay.
But like even the police end of them just kind of shouting back or them having a megaphone back at them.
Oh, what were the police shouting back?
I can't tell. They're saying something. Oh, I guess it's somebody else with another megaphone also yelling at them. I thought they were yelling at each other. So that's my mistake.
Well, as an update, do we have a big article about Radisson, or should I give a little background right now?
You can do a quick background because I have the video interview with the couple that.
Okay. Well, just a quick little background, as we reported on last episode. Canada officially has people being sent to government quarantine zones without their consent. And I'm just over here on the Radisson Hotel Group Wikipedia here. It says in 2016, Carlson Companies sold Carlson Residor Hotel Group, that's the former owner of Radisson Hospitality, to Chinese conglomerate HNA Group. In the fourth quarter of 2017, Carlson Hotels was renamed to Radisson Hospitality, while the listed subsidiary was renamed to Radisson Hospitality AB. In 2018, HNA Group resold Radisson to a consortium led by a Chinese state-owned hospitality company, Xinjiang International. As of 2000. Yes, so Radisson Hotels, which is the provider of rooms for the Canadian government forced quarantine program, is owned by the Chinese Communist Party, which is just too delicious. It's just too perfect.
It's funny because when I heard about that, I was like, I thought we already knew this. Because I don't know. Maybe we didn't know the details, but like
you knew that Radisson was owned by the Chinese Communist Party.
No, but just inherently, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe it's just an intuitive thing. But I was like, oh, this is China's behind this. Like I knew that China was behind it in some fashion or another.
China's been behind all of this, and we've seen time and time again the current Canadian administration bend the knee to China in just so many ways. It's very disturbing, but yes. So our dear Canadian listeners, at any moment, can be scooped up and forced into a government forced quarantine facility that is held in the Chinese Communist Party buildings. So, yikes. Okay, what do you got?
Is that too racist for me to say?
Yes, it is. You can't say that.
Okay. All right. I got a spam call. I think I just ticked off the Chinese.
Yeah, I've had
okay.
like 4 spam calls this show so far.
Yeah, we measure how much we're actually ticking off the elite by the number of spam calls we get during the show. So, okay, so this is a clip from Fatine. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Fatine TV. Thank you to producer Jonathan for sending us the clip. It's an update on Chris and Nikki Mathis, the pastor and his wife, the wife who was quarantined or kidnapped basically by the Canadian military government, police officers in unmarked vans and taken to an unknown location, which I guess was the Radisson Hotel. And this is her talking about, what is the setup here real quickly? Oh man, I forget what it was, but here it is.
When we asked the health official, are you legally allowed to make me do this?
Oh, that's right.
They were like, yes, this is legislative under the Quarantine Act. Like, I had called Public Health Services. I was trying to get a hold of them the next day. I'm in the hotel room and I'm trying to get a hold of somebody to move along my test. I wasn't getting any callbacks from Newmy, which is the company that they are hiring to do all of the COVID tests. And I wasn't getting any callbacks, and I'm just like waiting around. I couldn't. They have the Red Cross involved, helping to just be there as like a help, but they don't really have any information. So I was like, I called the Public Health Service and I was asking them, like, what would happen if I walked out of this hotel room right now? And she said, if you don't, she said, well, let me put you on hold and I'll get the right information. And she basically was just a person to give me a bunch of phone numbers for me to keep digging for information. So she just said to me, she comes back on and she says, so if you don't comply with anything that they tell you to do when you land, then it's up to 6 months in prison, or you can get a fine. And she gave me a number, and I don't want to quote anything wrong, so I'm not going to even try. But I know that it was a big number, and I know that people have been fined up to $250,000 for not complying. So as far as saying you basically have to do whatever they tell you to do, and they can say that it's a part of the Quarantine Act, is really scary, because where is the line? And I really wanted to make it clear that this isn't like a free Nikki thing. It's really not about me, even though I would rather crawl in a hole and hide and not be the face of this. I do think that it's a really important thing for us to speak out about and say, as the people, we demand a line. We demand that there be some accountability as far as how these decisions are made and how far they can go with these decisions, because I don't want somebody showing up just being like, oh, this is part of the Quarantine Act, so we get to do whatever we want. I know that sounds, again, far-fetched, but here we are.
There you go. So what did she say? 6 months in jail and up to several tens of thousands of dollars in fines.
Yeah, or 200,000. Yeah, no, it's pretty intense, man. It's brutal what's going on up there.
Yeah, and this other clip here, if I can get to it, shows pictures from the hotel, from the inside of the hotel, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it actually was really surreal. I had taken a few pictures of the facility because it was very like, oh, this isn't real. And I took some pictures of it that were, I felt like, you feel like you're kind of walking into a vortex because of how everything's white and plastic. And I felt like I'm going into a parallel universe.
Okay, so yeah, parallel universe, interesting reference there. But okay, I'm looking at the picture here for those of you just listening. They literally lined every inch with white plastic. It looks like...
Yeah, it looks terrifying.
Yeah,
it looks like the tent that they brought E.T. into.
That's exactly what I was going to say. In E.T., when those guys have those suits on.
You'd think, oh, it's the Radisson. Okay, you just get to stay in a hotel room. That's not the end of the world. No, these hotel rooms are completely lined in white plastic. There's no hotel furniture. There's a single white folding chair in the middle of a room. And then there's like a folding table on one side of the room. It looks like prison. It looks like a prison cell.
Not just a prison, but like like those insane asylum isolation rooms.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, might as well be a padded room. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's terrifying. I don't even know what else to say about it. The fact that this is real and there's real people getting scooped up and forced into these things, And, it's interesting because, they just kind of grabbed her and kept her in there for a while and then let her go for her quarantine session. There's not much else besides being stuck in this spooky room for a period of time. But it's a really interesting sort of stepping stone because she didn't, it sounds like she had her phone. She wasn't like imprisoned in sort of a traditional imprisonment way. Meaning, I don't think they put her in a jumpsuit and chained her up and let her out for an hour and, whatever. Although we have heard that the food that they're fed is really bad.
Come on,
but
Radisson.
It's kind of this, what?
I said, come on, Radisson.
Yeah, but it's kind of this weird little stepping stone into, normalizing periodic imprisonment for a normal. She's not a criminal. This was just a person who got scooped up and put away. And she's not the only one. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, the whole thing is troubling.
Solitary confinement.
I really hope the people are able to just get rid of this nonsense, but we'll see. We'll see what happens because in the meantime, there's so much stuff happening in so much confusion. The first story we have here is from the dailymail.co.uk, and this is, oh my gosh, this must be the longest title. I think they've done it. They've finally done it. The headline paragraph: Why are COVID cases plummeting? New infections have fallen 45% in the U.S. and 30% globally in the past 3 weeks, but experts say vaccine is not the main driver because only 8% of Americans and 13% people worldwide have received their first dose. That's the longest. I don't think I even need to read the thing. I mean, it pretty much tells
that's
you
their specialty.
I know. But yeah, there you go. The COVID cases are plummeting according to the dailymail.co.uk. It says here, as the deadliest month of the coronavirus pandemic in the U.S. came to an end, the nation is seeing signs of progress, including plummeting rates of COVID-19 cases, which, by the way, that probably also has to do with the PCR test. The WHO coming out with some different parameters on how to.
Oh, plenty of reasons. Yes. Yeah. The new PCR cycle thresholds. They also just changed the way that they count the statistics.
I know.
Yeah.
So shady.
we don't need to get into the actual math of that, but they just changed the way that they count statistics for COVID. And it brought, the numbers down by like 16% or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Just changing the math and how they count the cases and the deaths and stuff.
Daily cases have dropped 45% since the latest peak on January 11th, according to the data from the COVID-19 tracking project. There were 131,341 new cases reported on Wednesday. Just goes through some numbers here.
Hospitalizations down 26%.
Yeah. It's not just the U.S., however. The World Health Organization said on Monday it has also seen declining new infections globally over the past 3 weeks. Our Worlds in Data graph shows the daily infection rate has fallen by 30% in that period. And, there's a peak, and now it's dipping on the graph there. Again, man,
Biden saved us.
Biden takes office, and all of a sudden...
Good job. Biden said you have to wear a mask when you visit federal property, and it turns out that that's all we needed to do is to have all the feds wear masks.
Yeah, whoever puts these charts together, there's one here, number of U.S. deaths per day. And they use a really aggressive red color for the word deaths. And like the way they chart it, it's like, the dying people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, this is, again, one of the first stories here, given the fact that, they're vaccinating people, but the data is suggesting, or people that track it are suggesting that it's not due to that. It's just, Biden, I guess. Biden is the savior. Hairy legs, doing his job. Moving on here.
Okay, I got one here from sciencemag.org. The headline is Danish scientists see tough times ahead as they watch more contagious COVID-19 virus surge.
Wait a minute.
What?
I thought cases were plummeting.
No.
Wait a minute.
No, we must keep the cognitive dissonance and keep people confused.
Wait, I thought, okay, all right, okay.
All
right, Danish
these
guy.
Are the Danes. The Danes have something to say here. On its face, the curve of COVID-19 infections in Denmark looks reassuring enough.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. A nationwide lockdown has led numbers to plummet from more than 3,000 daily cases in mid-December 2020 to just a few hundred now. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the numbers. Quote, sure, the numbers look nice, says Kamala Holton Mueller of the Statens Serum Institute, who heads up a group of experts modeling the epidemic. Models. We've got some more computer models coming, and they call it epidemic here, not pandemic. Quote, I just clicked a link, didn't want to do that. Quote, but if we look at our models, this is the calm before the storm.
Oh, sounds like the QAnon folks.
Yes. These scientists are conspiracy theorists. That's because the graph really reflects two epidemics. One shrinking fast that caused by older variants of SARS-CoV-2 and a smaller, slowly growing outbreak of B117, the variant first recognized in England and now driving a big third wave of the pandemic there. And once they give it a scary name, they've got big plans. If B117 keeps spreading at the same pace in Denmark, it will become the dominant variant later this month and cause the overall number of cases to rise again, despite lockdown. Why despite lockdown? Does B117 travel through walls? Does B117 teleport through your television? Seems like it. Holton Mueller says, quote, it is a complete game changer. Oh, we couldn't possibly have any good news. We got to keep the fear going.
Yeah.
The same. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say that I don't think this is never going to be the same. They're always going to have.
They're going to keep doing this. Yeah. It's going to come out. Now, I think it's kind of funny. They came out and call it B117 and not just another COVID-21.
Well,
can you believe that? We're already in 21.
I know.
And it was COVID-19.
Yeah, that's true. I was looking at this B117, whatever. You said 117.
B117 is how I've heard it reported locally.
Interesting. I was looking at the hashtag on Twitter, and it was hashtag lowercase B117. And, my brain does things.
Your brain does things. Believe it or not, even without sugar, Gonza's brain does things.
Brain does weird things. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, interesting. A lowercase b, if you flip it upside down, looks like a 9. So and if you read it backwards, it's 9/11 and then 7, like building 7.
Wow.
My brain was doing things.
You've really cracked the code on this one.
I'm just saying they're probably, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Those scientists named Kamala.
It all goes back to 9/11. The same is likely happening in many countries without being noticed, but a massive virus sequencing effort has allowed Denmark, a country of 5.8 million, to track the rise of the new COVID-19 variant more closely than any other country. Quote, all eyes are on Denmark right now. Hey, look, Denmark, you're great, but I don't think all eyes are on Denmark. Says Christian Andersen, an infectious disease researcher at Scripps Research, who is advising the Danish government. Quote, when it comes to B117, is there a way in which we can prevent the kind of calamity that we have seen in the UK and Ireland, for example, he asks? The data aren't reassuring. Danish scientists' best guess is that B117 spreads 1.55 times faster than previous variants, Holter Mueller says. To keep it from spiraling out of control, the country will have to remain in lockdown or even add new control measures until large part of the population has been vaccinated. The prospect is so unappealing that some epidemiologists say Denmark should consider an alternative. Reopen once the most vulnerable people are vaccinated, even if that means a big new surge in cases. Denmark reported B117 within its borders in December 2020, soon after the United Kingdom put the world on notice, and has since stepped up an already impressive virus sequencing operation. Anyways, there's more to this article, but that's kind of the big points there.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of these. Go ahead.
No, you're reading something?
Oh, I was reading the name of the... I always have fun with the people's names in these articles.
Oh.
And it says here that the country could take further steps, such as requiring people to work from home when possible and improving contact tracing, which becomes easier as the numbers dwindle. Rolling out rapid tests could also help, and more can be done to encourage patients to isolate, says Michael Bang Peterson. He's a political scientist. We're getting scientific advice from political scientists now.
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe we need to go become scientists, and then we can be experts. Yeah, this is very interesting. You know, we've been watching this new variant, not technically a new strain, they say, but a variant. It's just coincidentally coinciding specifically with the advent of the vaccine, because nothing better than getting a vaccine and having it be completely useless in the next month. I mean, they're still only saying that the vaccine will only keep you safe for 6 months. So they are really planning on this being a regular occurrence, getting these vaccines, not just, for the OG COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2, so passé now, but for it's just gonna keep coming, man. The jabs don't stop.
This whole vaccine thing, I feel like it's such we always talk about a psychological operation on the masses, but this is like, it's getting to the point where it's not just psychological, and obviously it's all tied together, but the emotional manipulation is just off the charts now.
Yeah.
With people that really buy into all this stuff.
Yeah.
They must be feeling, I don't know how they feel almost. They must feel really hopeless at this point.
No, I mean, it is. There's a very intense sense of hopelessness. Just a quick little fun story. I was going, I got a buddy who's working on a house for his parents, and he's like, "Oh, just come on over, check it out." So when I was heading over there, I gave him a call. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna come check out the house." And he's like, "Oh, my parents just got here, so I don't know. Let me ask and make sure they're okay." And oh yeah, my dad got vaccinated, but my mom isn't, and I don't know. She's kind of whatever. And I hear her on the phone yelling, like, "How would you feel if you killed a 61-year-old?" Which is really intense. And it was partly in jest. I mean, I've got a great relationship with these people. Love them to death. But it was partly in jest, but also not at the same time. And the only answer I could think of was, "I've done it before and I'll do it again." She did not think that was very funny.
Yeah. Good, nice try lightening the mood, though. At least
I tried so hard. But I was told to come check it out anyways, and by the time I got there, she had left. She did not want to be in the same room as a killer. So
murderer.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Next up, we have Bloomberg.com. Why Israel can't celebrate its vaccine success yet. And by the way, I don't know if your parents have done this, but my parents, I don't know what they're losing their eyesight or something. I don't know. They bought like an 88-inch TV or something. It is massive. Yeah. It is humongous.
You know what's so funny is that is incredibly massive and humongous. But as of this year or last year, even the 80-inchers are pretty affordable.
Yeah, well, that's partly why my parents got it recently, but it was just
Yeah.
humongous. I walk over, every time I walk into their room, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get sucked into the TV. But anyway, I bring that up because the last time I visited, giant image of Netanyahu getting jabbed right there on the screen.
That's
As
funny.
I walk in, I'm, oh, look at that. BB getting the jab there.
The bigger the screen, the stronger the brainwashing.
Yeah, definitely. Israel should be celebrating. More than 20% of its population has been fully vaccinated. Another 15 have been given the first of 2 jabs and will be protected by mid-February. The government plans to have vaccinated 5 million citizens, well over half the adult population, by mid-March, just before Israel's next election takes place on March 23rd. Never has a candidate had better talking points on the key issue of the day. Last week, the Maccabi Health Maintenance Organization, one of the 4 HMOs under which Israeli healthcare is administered, announced that of 163,000 patients who received the full 2-shot protocol, 92% were COVID-free after 10 days, and the remaining 8% showed only mild symptoms. Members of a control group of unvaccinated Israelis were found to be 11 times more highly infected. And yet, Israel is still struggling to contain the virus. This isn't because the vaccine is failing, but because many Israelis still refuse to follow the restrictions imposed to limit the spread of infection. Israel began its vaccination program by inoculating its oldest citizens and those with serious underlying conditions. In cities with high levels of vaccination, there's been a 50% drop in confirmed cases, a 40% decrease in hospitalizations, and there are 15% fewer serious patients. Quote, the vaccine's effect is profound, says Professor Iran Segal of the Weizmann Institute. The virus's reproduction rate is under the magic number of 1. I thought scientists are supposed to work in magic, but apparently this guy. Magic number of 1, meaning infection rate should continue to decline. Even so, January has been a cruel month in which COVID-19 claimed 1,400 fatalities, about a third of total deaths since the start of the pandemic. A third of total. So that means only, 7,500 people or so have died of COVID in Israel? Wow, that's not a lot. Most of these were elderly patients from whom the vaccine didn't arrive in time. In Israel, if Israel is bending the curve, it isn't doing it as fast as it could be. Why so many new infections? One big factor is Haredim and Arab Israelis who often flout the social distancing guidelines and become infected at mass communal events such as weddings and funerals. Coronavirus ward in Israel's hospitals have been filled up with unvaccinated younger patients. Experts here believe Israel cannot achieve full herd immunity until a vaccine can also be given to children. For the past 3 weeks, Israel has, in theory, been under an internal lockdown scheduled to end this weekend, though that is a matter of political negotiation between the warring coalition partners. In any case, compliance is poor. So, all of this, I can keep going on here. This just keeps going. But all of this is blaming the people. And that's the thing that's really troubling with all of this is like, oh, these governments and scientists, we're doing all that we can. But those pesky people, it's all because of you. You're the reason why we can't beat this thing.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because that really has been, and it's unfortunate and it's not smart and it's bad PR for scientists and governments. It's this weird dichotomy between it's the people that are making this not work. Our genius plan would work if only the people weren't so free thinking and rebellious.
Right.
But the measure of success is the well-being of the people. So it's this weird, again, and we touched on this middle of last year, but it's this weird victim blaming mentality.
Yeah.
And for such a woke, progressive, socially minded set of scientists and doctors and government officials, there's a whole lot of victim blaming going on, and it's really sick, actually.
It is. It's really exposing I guess the medical technocracy, the technocratic takeover.
Yeah.
Because part of it too, and I was listening to Tim Dillon. He's a comedian. He's got a podcast. I think he's like openly gay too, so I'm not like totally, aligned with his worldview. But he was talking about how he had been jumping. He was invited to Clubhouse, which is that application where all the elite technocrats get together and they chat about stuff. They had Elon on last week. This week they had like Zuckerberg and who else was it? There was like a few people that all joined a call at the same time, like all these elite technocrats getting together. And Tim Dillon didn't drop names per se, but he was saying that these people were definitely all about, moving forward. We're going to have a pandemic every 5 years. We were mixing our germs too much before anyway. And so now, it's better this way. We're going to be healthier and cleaner and better. It's just, it's wild.
Which is opposite of how the immune system works.
Completely
of course.
Opposite. But that's how these guys were talking. And they're stoked because everyone stays inside. Everyone has access to the internet. That's how people are going to communicate with each other. Friendships, everything is going to happen online now. And you're going to do it through our products. And so they were all excited about it because now
it's
we
the
have
pay to live model.
Pay to live, and also, lock you down. So that it's like imprisoning you and forcing you to use our technology, basically.
Yeah.
And so
instead of letting your body
do
what it was built to do, you need our medical device,
or just allowing us to freely choose what technologies we want to use.
Right.
So anyway, I just thought that it was interesting. I thought it was telling that an openly gay comedian is now against the technocracy. We've gotten to a point.
Well, there you go. He's not mind controlled by the.
Yeah, well, I'm just
Democrats.
saying. I'm just saying it's gotten to a point where even a very liberal-minded, you see it a lot now too.
It's not even about the Democrats, by the way. I misspoke. It's not about the political party of the Democrats.
It's not, but I guess you can just call them normies or people that would traditionally be more towing the line of what the authorities tell you. Even those people are kind of waking up like, wait a minute, this is not right.
The mainstream narratives are losing their grip on some people you'd think would be, completely lost to it.
Right. And it's interesting because it happened post-Trump, like Trump kind of came in and mixed everybody up into a frenzy. And then now that this is settling, the dust is settling on COVID.
Well, it's the lack of the big bad guy, the big baddie, where we being, those who would, subscribe to the mainstream narrative as absolute truth. Once the big bad guy, the sinister villain is defeated, the problem is with the lack of Orange Man bad, you actually start to think again. Right. You're not so wrapped up in the mind control, fear mongering of Orange Man bad that you actually look around and say, wait a second, something is And we've been saying that since before the election, that those who are ultimate Biden cheerleaders are going to be sorely disappointed when they win their election and suddenly the world doesn't get better, but in a lot of cases actually gets worse.
Yeah. Moving on here, this headline, yesterday was World Cancer Day. And one of my predictions for the next couple years here is the curing of cancer. This is NewYorkTimes.com. In the vaccine scramble, cancer patients are left behind. And it says those with compromised immune systems are often advised to get the shots under medical supervision, but their cancer centers can't always provide them. A doctor in Arizona says her cancer patients are so desperate to get vaccinated against COVID-19 that they plan to volunteer at a stadium vaccination site. A woman in New Jersey with colon cancer can't sign up for the vaccine appointment because her cancer center in New York is authorized to vaccinate only state residents. The cancer patient in Maryland refreshes her computer, but can't find an available vaccination appointment. Facing conflicting guidance and logistical chaos, many cancer patients are struggling to navigate the bumpy rollout of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Ideally, cancer patients who take immunosuppressant medications should receive vaccinations under the care of a doctor or in a cancer center, where they can be closely monitored and encounter fewer people than they would at a mass distribution site. But the limited availability of the vaccine, plus the havoc and confusion surrounding the rollout, leaves patients grasping for answers. So, a couple angles to this. One, I think the controllers, the powers that be, they're totally fine with letting all these cancer patients die, which is nefarious in itself. But also, I think because they have the new boogeyman, or at least the framework for a more effective way to control the population with COVID-19 or B117 or B117, however you said that, they're almost going to let go of cancer as the big bad boogeyman in the room. And that's kind of why I think they're going to start rolling out some technologies to cure cancer from the medical side of, the medical institutional side. And, but those are just my opinions and projections.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah, a replacing of the sort of scourge of the human body.
Right. And we all know people who have passed away from cancer. And, you can look at the many conspiratorial-minded folks. We look at the GMOs. We look at many different things that have caused the increase in cancer just across the world. But again, I think when it comes to population control, they realize oh man, COVID-19 and vaccines, that stuff works way better than cancer. Cancer, we can all, everyone fears cancer, but it's it's more of an elusive thing. It's a slower thing. You don't spread it from one person to another. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting that even the attention of the medical field, they're just kind of all right, cancer. We need to focus on the C19 vaccine.
Right. Well, and it is an interesting connection. The standard medical paradigm is that you're never fully cured of cancer. You just go into remission.
Right.
So, it's a lifelong sentence. It's a life sentence. Actually, in fact, I think in this article, somebody mentioned cancer is a life sentence, but COVID is a death sentence. So sort of structuring COVID as a bigger threat than cancer.
Yeah.
But the similarities between cancer being a life sentence that, needs to be sort of at least observed or surveilled through your whole life, even if you do go into remission. COVID takes the place of that quite interestingly as well, with, there's a new strain every 6 months and you got to continue to participate in the medical model or else you'll just die. So you better do it. In a way, COVID really is a life sentence also.
Yeah. It is for society, not just individuals.
Right.
Last one here before we take a quick break. This one is from NXST TV, Nexstar. And the headline is Earth heats up due to pandemic's cleaner air, study finds. So it's not just people that were getting the flu. It was the Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Earth spiked a bit of a fever in 2020. Partly because of cleaner air from the pandemic lockdown, a new study found. So so
cleaner air caused global warming?
I'm just going to read the quote down here. Quote, cleaning up the air can actually warm the planet because the soot and sulfate pollution results in cooling, which climate scientists have long known, said study lead author Andrew Gettleman, an atmospheric scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research. His calculations come from comparing 2020 weather to computer models that simulated a 2020 without the pollution reductions from pandemic lockdowns. Wait a minute. Okay. We've been told
the craziest
mind-bending
flip-flops I've ever heard.
I told you, man, mixed messaging. This is all for cognitive dissonance, just to make people crazy. We've been told that with all the pollution, the world is getting warmer, right? That's been the narrative.
It was cooler, then it was warmer. Yes.
And now they're saying because all the pollution is gone, we are getting warmer. It doesn't make any sense.
This is mind bending. What in the world? So is this bad? Do we need more soot and sulfate? My ice cubes are going to melt. The icebergs. Remember the polar bear on the iceberg?
Well, Gettleman here, he says, clean air warms the planet a tiny bit, but it kills a lot fewer people with air pollution. So,
wait till Greta hears about this. Somebody needs to tell Greta.
So if we don't do anything about it, we're going to die from global warming. But if we clean everything up, we'll die from overheating. So just
this is incredible. I got to save this. This is a good time to remind everybody that all the links of the articles that we read on these show, they're all available in the show notes. Head to canarycrynewstalk.com. Get this link. You need to. It's a great resource. If you hear a story that we read on the show or talk about, it'll be in the show notes, canarycrynewstalk.com. It's not just entertainment for you, but it's also a great roadmap for some research, or at least a place to start off. And this is one you want to keep in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So, when your eco crunchy hippie friend starts talking about global warming, pull this one out on him.
Yeah. All right, let's take a brief break here.
Let's do it. Okay, folks, we're just going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we're getting into some politics, baby. We're going to be talking about Biden. We're going to talk about Psaki. We're talking CIA. We're talking Majorie Taylor Greene and much, much more. Ooh, a little bit of Satanic Temple in there, too. So you don't want to mix. You don't want to mix the politics section, but you also don't want to miss it. So stick around. We're going to take just a second and thank some of our producers. That's right. I'm talking producers because we are on the value for value model. If you're new to the show, let me learn you something. Value for value model is the number one best way and only way that we can keep this show going. You may realize that we don't have any affiliate codes for you. We don't read any advertisements, and that's not for not for lack of opportunity. We have plenty of advertisers who would just love. I mean, can you imagine how good? Look, you're great, but can you imagine how much fun I would have doing ad reads for underwear companies and mattresses?
Companies.
Oh my gosh, that would actually be very entertaining. But we don't do it because we just simply can't be beholden to corporate money. Advertising is part and parcel with big data, privacy concerns, the panopticon, censorship on the internet. It's all surrounds and revolves around advertising. And you're starting to get the picture now. That would just simply be unacceptable for us to participate in that advertising system. Or if you want to put it more plainly, willful mind control. Again, we've had people beg that we don't do the value for value model because they just hate hearing that real human beings are supporting this show and we're not taking money from corporations. And it's sick. I don't blame them. It's just the mind control. We've been trained that we can get all media for free and some big corporation will pay for it. No longer, folks. Mainstream media is even asking for donations now. Washington Post, CNBC, NBC, MSN, all these places are trying to get the masses to support them with the value for value model. But that's not what this is about. This is about you, dear listener, rebelling against the corporate money, advertising, censorship, big data takeover that has put so many people to sleep. And we're coming to a time now where you will be able to get very little media for within the advertising system, free to you. I mean, think about Netflix, think about Hulu, all your streaming services. You're paying $15 a month. How much do you listen to the show? Do you listen to it every episode? How much do you get out out of it? Is it worth something to you? Do you learn something? Are you entertained for 6 to 9 hours a week? What is that worth to you? You are invited to join in with the value for value model. Join hands with other listeners just like yourself to keep the media that you care about and trust going without being beholden to corporate money. And it's a rebellion against that theology of the earth and the powers that control it. And so we invite you to become a producer of the show. And you are a producer. It's not just a cutesy name. If you're paying to have media created, you are a producer of that media. And so we will like to thank some of them now. And I'm going to start over at patreon.com/CCNT. Thank you to all of the people who came in here. The Patreon hadn't had that much action recently, but I do want to extend a big old thank you to our first producer DNS.
Thank you very much. DNS. Is that like literally a DNS?
Do not subscribe. I don't know. Thanks to our next producer Larry B.
Thank you, Larry B.
Thank you very much, Larry B. Next, we have producer Carter, who is an upgrading producer.
All right. Thank you, producer Carter.
Thank you very much. Thank you to producer Mike B.
Mike B.
Yes. And thank you to producer Shayna S.
All right. Thank you, producer Shayna.
Yeah. And, another thing I forgot to mention, the way that we do it, and which we admittedly lifted straight off of the No Agenda show, one of the pioneers of the value for value model. One of the great things about this model as well is it's transparent. I mean, a lot of shows and media and websites and stuff, they'll ask for donations, but you never really know where the money's coming from. You never get credit. You rarely get credit. You rarely, if you're not a producer, hearing the names of the producers is creating a connection between you and the producers. These are the people who are paying for the show for you to listen to it. And I think that's kind of special to know who's, keeping a show going that you enjoy. And it's also nice to hear that it's not some scummy corporation. Okay, next we have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio.
That's right.
Yes, and one producer coming in there. And again, this is producer Mike B. Came in twice on both of the Patreons. Thank you very much, Mike B.
Thank you, producer Mike.
Okay, now we get it. Maybe you don't like Patreon. That's okay. You don't want to participate in Patreon's thing. We support you. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is a great place to become a producer. It'll have some literature there for you to learn more about the value for value model. You can also learn about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. But on top of that, you can sign up to become a monthly producer, or if commitment is not your thing, you can come in with a one-time producership and any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and all sorts of fun things over there. So head on over to canarycryradio.com/support. Gons, who's coming in on the PayPal?
PayPal. First up, we have Alicia M. Thank you, producer
Thank
Alicia.
you very much, Alicia M.
Next, we have producer Jennifer C.
Thank you very much, Jennifer C. with a pocket full of sevens there.
Yes, and she said, love you guys. Thank you for that. And then we have producer Maureen M.
Thank you very much, Maureen M.
And next up, we have producer Isaac coming in.
Thank you very much, producer Isaac.
And
is this Isaac that made the Canary Cry calendar?
I believe it is. I think this is from the calendar.
Oh, awesome. That's wonderful. Thank you, producer Isaac.
Yeah, that was great. Hopefully everyone out there grabbed a calendar. If you haven't, go to canarycrymerchperch.com to check it out.
I don't know if there's any left.
Oh, there
if there's
might be.
any left, there's very few of them. But
Yeah.
the Canary Cry calendar was a very special project that producer Isaac and a bunch of the other producers put together. It's a 2021 calendar. Did ours ever come into the mailbox?
Yeah, I got to send you because I
You
have
got
2.
one?
Yeah, I got.
You should
2 of
have a
them.
couple things for me over there.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
just hold on to it until you beg.
Until Jesus comes back. I'm begging now. I'm on my hands and knees, live on the show in public. Send me my calendar and other wonderful things.
Very interesting knees you got. Producer Rachel. Producer Rachel C.
Thank you very much, producer
you.
Rachel C.
You're clearly not on your hands and knees, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I forgot people can see me.
Producer Rachel says, "You are an essential service in our house." That is awesome. Thank you for all
nice.
you do. God bless. Thank you, Producer Rachel, and all the people in the Rachel C household. We say hello.
Yes. Greetings,
greetings.
Rachel C household.
Next up, producer Marcia M.
Thank you very much, Marsha M.
And, of course, producer Saul coming in.
Coming in again with the pocket full of sevens. Thank you very much, producer Saul.
And I think that's it. Let me...
I think, actually, oh my gosh.
Is there more?
Yeah, a bunch of people came in during the show. There's so many of them. I think we're going to have to save it all for next show.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. Something, I don't know. Should I just go through it now?
Hold on.
I got them right in front of me. You want them now or later?
I feel like we did them all. I'm looking at it right now. Maybe I need to refresh.
No, you're not. Refresh.
Okay. Refresh.
Look at this. This is what happens, people, when you wait until the show. Now we're stuck. What do we do? Let's save it. We got to save it.
We do?
We'll thank all these producers on the next episode. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. All right, cool. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, so other ways you can support the show is with cryptocurrency. You can go to canarycryradio.com/crypto. I
have good news.
Yes.
I'm being told the calendar is not sold out.
Ooh, there must only be a couple left.
There has to only be a handful left, though. So if you want the Canary Cry calendar, go get it.
Cool.
At canarycrymerchperch.com.
That's right. Oh, yeah, I have a jingle for that, too. And other ways you can support the show with your time and talent is with sending us jingles, ISOs, songs, all show relevant stuff that we're into. We'll play a big playlist, which is getting pretty long. May have to start shaving a couple tracks off of it, not because... well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how. I don't want to have an outro playlist that goes for too much longer than it is right now.
I mean, there'll be a rotation.
Yeah, we'll have a rotating song list. But we thank you for all the producers that have sent in their tracks, and we're open to hearing more.
Okay.
And of course, with your artwork.
One art, please.
And we have a few pieces of art to consider today. First one is first couple here, from producer Grace. She has a series of quotes here that were said on the show. She said she had a lot of fun putting this one together. This is no longer science fiction. That was me.
Yes.
And Basil, you said,
this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Very good. And then another one from Basil, your old cartoon update from Gons, and there's a picture of Popeye the Sailor Man smoking a pipe.
Your newest hit segment on the show where you describe old cartoons with sort of no bigger point.
There was a bigger point. It was Brutus, Brutus, who would destroy spinach. Anyway.
And this has been your old cartoon update from Gons.
Shiver me timbers. Beautiful, glorious global brains. Apparently I said that in the last episode. I don't remember.
That sounds like something you'd say.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Producer Grace. Actually, there's one more piece here in that set of quotes. We are serious journalists. That was satire. That was
Yes.
Basil saying
I'm
that.
glad we put that she made sure to put the
Asterisk.
disclaimer there at the bottom.
Very good. Thank you so much, producer Grace. We always love these. These are wonderful, and it really puts into context all the silly things we say. Turns it into visual form.
Need it.
Very fun.
Love it.
Next up, we
Must
have
have.
producer Ali. Quintessential Canadian Beard by Beard Co.
Ah, yes.
This is in reference to the pastor whose wife was kidnapped by the Canadian government. He was on TV. We actually showed him earlier, too. And we were talking about just his glorious, wonderful beard.
Yeah, it looked fake.
I know.
It's beautiful. And yes, now you can get your own quintessential Canadian beard by Beard Co. It's one big plastic piece. $33.99, beautifully molded, BPA-free plastic beard for all occasions. Fully detachable mustache and built-in mask available in brown, black, blonde, gray, red, clear, paisley, and plaid.
Clear.
Beard Co. for all your facial hair needs.
Clear
Thank
is
you
an
very
interesting
much.
choice.
What did I say?
No. I'm just saying clear
Oh, yeah.
as
No,
a beard.
It's like a future beard.
A future beard? Okay.
Yeah.
And also...
Well, it's like a polar bear beard. You know, polar bear's fur is actually clear.
yes,
It just looks white. Because
I've heard that one. Also, what I thought was funny was 4.5 stars. Who's that one guy who's like, not happy with my one-piece plastic beard?
It was a lady.
Okay. We're gonna get in trouble. All right. Next up, we have one from producer Rachel. Hold on. Let me find that note because she had one that came in. Oh, gosh. I was hoping I had all this ready, but I guess I'm not as good at getting it all ready. Okay. So here's the piece of art. It's a cute little bear. And the note from Rachel says...
is this from Freya? Is this Freya's
mother, I believe.
Freya's mother? Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I won't read the whole thing here. She says, I've been attempting to find suitably eloquent words with which to write to you for ages. I'm not sure I found them yet, but I wanted to send official salutations from myself and my daughter, producer Freya. As a small introduction, this is JD Rachel in the chat and comments. And they live in West Yorkshire, UK. And she says she's been lost in SGI Buddhism for 20 years.
Oh,
Then
interesting.
I awoke one day last March to find myself saved and joyously reborn in Jesus. Amen to that. I stumbled around YouTube looking for answers. I went down several New Age-ish dead ends. Then, praise God, I found all your work around last June. The weekly shows immediately became a staple, especially during these mad times when we would love to join a church, but they've been closed. Yeah, I thought about that too. This is a time when, especially this last year, if people came to know Christ, they didn't have any fellowship.
Hard to find a fellowship, yeah.
That's just crazy to me. I mean, that in itself should tell you that the agenda is behind this whole thing.
Sure, yeah.
And there's actually a POLYTICK story that kind of references that in a loose way. We have found so much knowledge, insight, and fellowship from CCNT, Face Like the Sun, the Joyspiracy Theory. Thank you so much for your faithful service to the Lord. We tell as many people as we can about your work because we know from experience that you bring peace and truth to those newly saved for concerned by worldly affairs. And they also said we both have a soft spot for Allie's wonderful art.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's a
Me
joy
too.
seeing her ideas on the page. In my own work, I paint pictures and cards mainly for children. Although these days I see my pick as, this is a word that I don't think I've ever read before out loud. Miagre? A meager offering?
Yeah.
Miagre.
Oh my
I don't think I've ever seen meager spelled out before.
Wow, okay.
All right, well, now I have. Okay.
Wait, did she say is this her job? She makes greeting cards?
I think so.
Or
That's what she said.
she just makes greeting cards for her people?
Yeah, I don't. Well, she said for her work, in my own work.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. So, nevertheless, I attach one of my humble creations as a small token of our gratitude for all you do. Peace and blessings to you both and your loved ones, Rachel and Freya. So thank you, producer Rachel.
Wow, thank you very
and
much,
Freya.
producer Rachel. Wow, our Canary Cry greeting card. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you
I
just
found our
came up
next
with
product.
Your next product.
Canary Cry greeting cards. We could put some clever stuff on there.
We could
Sell them in like what, pack of 50 or something?
Yeah.
All right, Rachel. Send us an email. Send me an email. We'll put you to work.
Make it happen. All right. Thank you for that. And next up, this one is actually a photo from producer Jack. He found a cutout of Fauci, and he took a picture of himself with the cutout Fauci, which I thought was hilarious because the cutout of Fauci looks like it's life size.
It's so tiny.
And look, I'm not a very tall guy, so I shouldn't be making fun too much.
It's
But
so tiny.
yeah, but
well,
pretty funny.
That's fun.
Yeah,
I like how they put a mask on the cardboard cutout.
Doubling up.
Yeah, he's double masked.
Double masked. And then lastly, we have one from producer Mike. I think it's producer Mike, if I'm not mistaken here. Just want to double check.
So this was a different take on Somsumer. So we're talking about Somsumer, S-O-M-N sumer, like a consumer, only you're asleep, a sleeping consumer. But this is a new twist, the Psalmsumer, P-S-A-L-M sumer. And then there's you and I there down at the bottom. You're looking very handsome and detailed, and I look like a Muppet, which is exactly how I want it to be. So thank you very much. And you say, people don't read their Bibles. And I say, I didn't have much to add in that case.
Eating your gushers. This is producer Mike B.
Oh, Mike B. Thank you very much, producer Mike B. Wow, quite a participation this week. Thank you, producer Mike B.
Really producing the show multiple ways.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are all of our artists. We want to also thank producer Jade Bouncerson for continuing to provide us with timestamps. That's really helpful. Appreciate that.
Yes. For those who are watching on YouTube, after the live broadcast is over, there will be timestamps available so you can skip around the show if you want to re-listen to something, or if a new listener finds it, they can kind of skip from subject to subject if that's how they want to live.
Eventually, we're going to have that as probably a feature or something on the website and an app.
Yeah.
But
and once we get our podcasting 2.0 rolling, those will be actually incredible because that can be built right into the podcast version of the show, which is very, very exciting.
Yep. There you go. I think that's everything. Do you got anything else to mention?
I don't think so. Let me just do a quick scan of my notes. Nope.
Are you going to do the reviews, or are you going to do that later?
Oh, yeah, I do have a review. It was a slow week in reviews. I was trying to look on different platforms. That's a little bit more difficult for us to conglomerate, but I do want to thank Deluxen Killer over on Apple Podcasts for the 5-star review that says 6 stars if I could. I've been listening for a few years now. Sorry it took me so long to give a 5-star. You guys have a great show, and I love listening to each episode while I'm at work. My only issue is you guys need to do a show on Tuesday and Thursday. It wants a daily show, Gons. Well, thank you very much for that review, Deluxen Killer. Let me see. Am I reading that correctly? Yeah, something like that. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correct. But thank you so much. And I implore all of you to head to Apple Podcasts, search out Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and a review, and make sure to subscribe while you're there. Believe it or not, most people listen to the podcast version. However, you dear live listeners, if you ever miss a show and you don't have access to YouTube, or maybe the YouTube disappears mysteriously, you can make sure to be subscribed on any podcatcher that you want to use. That's Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, all those places. Subscribe to the show. It's always put up the day of. And the sound quality is much better. So there you go. Thank you to all of our reviewers, and I can't wait to read more reviews next Friday.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Oh, wait, not quite yet. I do want to, for those who missed the beginning of the show, I do just want to remind everybody we are doing another Canary Cry raffle this month through the end of February. It's another social media blitz. Now listen up. There's 3 rules. You're going to post on social media, whatever social media you want, except for Canary Cry Community. That doesn't count. But any social media that you use, if you post a post about Canary Cry News Talk. You post a post.
No wonder people are confused.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Rule 1. You need to have a call to action. So you write something like, I love this podcast. It's so great. If you want to know the truth, listen to it. So that's rule 1. Rule 2, you got to use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. Okay? Don't try to get fancy because all it does is make it harder to find your post. Hashtag Canary Cry News Talk. Third rule, you must have a link to a Canary Cry product. It's got to, have an episode link in there, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or wherever else you want to listen to it. I will accept canarycrynewstalk.com, but it's got to be something easy for somebody who sees it. They click on it, boom, they're listening, something like that. So there you go. That's the 3 rules. Call to action, hashtag, link. And you can do this as many times as you want throughout the month of February. Each post will be another raffle ticket. And this month's prize is 1 ounce. It's a 1 ounce silver coin provided by, we got to write. Do you know who's
Producer Aaron?
Producer Aaron is provided by Producer Aaron, who has are you sure it's Producer Aaron?
Yeah. Yes.
But the YouTube channel is different.
Aaron Moffat?
Oh, Aaron Moffat. Oh, ERIN.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So Producer Aaron, you can make sure to search YouTube for Aaron Moffat, Moffet. I hope.
I think
I'm
so.
going strictly from memory here. This is not good practice, but
it might be 2 T's too.
Okay.
Double check that.
Yeah, double check that while you do. Very generously made 1 troy ounce of silver available to us to give away to you, dear producers. So go ahead. You can do as many posts as you want. It has to have those 3 things. Remember, call to action, hashtag, and link. And we'll be counting all the way through midnight on February 28th. And then we'll do a raffle and give away that thing. So make sure to check out Aaron Moffat on YouTube. They do videos. What are her videos about again? Hold on. I need to pull up these notes.
Yeah, I mean, she does similar things. I think she talks, she does some money. I think she talks a little bit of crypto, but also a lot of truth type of stuff.
Yes, says she's been massively shadow banned and purged subs. We can let people know that she primarily covers scripture, eschatological conversation, precious metals, and more recently, very much into the crypto game. And there we go. So make sure to check that out. And thank you so much for making this available to the Canary Cry community of producers and wonderful people.
Right.
Okay, now we can wake up.
Now we can wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
And
So-
we are doing POLYTICK.
Yes.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
That's right. We're getting into it, folks. Many bloodsuckers. Now, with the Biden administration in control, that also has signaled the change of White House press secretaries, and the new one being Jennifer Psaki. Remember, she's going to circle back on that with us, but this is an article coming from MSN.com, originally from Independent. Biden White House clashes with media after asking for pre-written questions. Now, I got to say, before I get into this, I've been at least given a small amount of hope with the problems that Jennifer Psaki has been having with the media, because as I said before the election and before everything, the worst possible scenario for America is for the government or a presidential administration and the media being on the same team, living in some halcyon age where everybody, all the media does is talk about how great the president is. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm still offended by the article of who pours the dog kibble in the Biden family. Puff piece is it signaled its own apocalypse to me. But today, Biden White House clashes with media after asking for pre-written questions. White House reporters have said that the Biden press office's request to be sent questions ahead of briefings undermine his promise to respect a free press. Sending in questions ahead of time would give the appearance that reporters are cooperating with the administration. Quote, it peed off enough reporters for people to flag it for the White House Correspondents Association for them to deal with it, a source said, according to the Daily Beast, which writes that 3 people say the White House press team have asked that what questions journalists are planning to ask during briefings. When the subject was raised during a White House Correspondents Association Zoom call Friday, reporters were advised not to acquiesce to the requests. Journalists were told to push back against or ignore the inquiries. One White House reporter told the Daily Beast, quote, while it's a relief to see briefings return, particularly with a commitment to factual information, the press can't really do its job in the briefing room if the White House is picking and choosing the questions they want. That's not really a free press at all. After former President Trump repeatedly called the press, quote, enemy of the people, and his press team had an adversarial relationship with reporters, I will say Jennifer Psaki has seemed to have an adversarial relationship as well. Yeah. The Biden operation is trying to make a U-turn in press relations by following the facts and reinstating the daily press briefing. Let's see. There's a little audio clip here. No, there's not. A White House spokesperson argued that asking what questions were bound to come up was part of an effort to offer thorough responses and avoid dodging questions during briefings. Okay. Quote, our goal is to make the daily briefing as useful and informative as possible for both reporters and the public. Part of meeting that objective means regularly engaging with the reporters who will be in the briefing room to understand how the White House can be most helpful in getting them the information they need. That two-way conversation is an important part of keeping the American people updated about how government is serving them, the spokesperson told the Daily Beast. Former Trump press secretary and current candidate for Arkansas governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders asked some outlets what they were about to ask before larger Trump press. Oh, of course, we got to turn this back to Orange Man Bad, but okay. They just can't keep this man's name out their mouth. Let me start that over. Former Trump press secretary and current candidate for Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders asked some outlets what they were about to ask before larger Trump press conferences during her tenure in the West Wing. Obama and Bush staffers asked for outlines of questions ahead of interviews with cabinet secretaries. Oh, this is fun. So they put a nice little, yeah, well, everybody else did it, so Biden should be able to do it. Obama Deputy Press Secretary Eric Schultz told the Daily Beast that finding out what reporters are working on is, quote, textbook communication work. The briefing becomes meaningless if the press secretary has to repeatedly punt questions instead of coming equipped to discuss what journalists are reporting on. In a non-COVID environment, this would happen in casual conversations throughout the day. One of the few upsides to reporting reporters hovering over your desk all day is that you get a very quick sense of what they're working on. So they end the article here with a plea to let this be okay. Let Jennifer Psaki know what's going on, what questions she has to answer, because apparently, as we've seen, she is incapable of answering any questions without knowing ahead of time, on account of her having to circle back every single question. As she either tries to circle back every question, or like we saw with the Space Force question, she got insulting. She's been getting very frustrated with these reporters. Mainly, it's easy to get mad and scared and offended when you got people asking you questions that you should know, but for some reason don't. And I don't want to go on a whole thing, but all I gotta say is Kayleigh McEnany was a beast. She was a beast. Answering for the Trump administration for her tenure as press secretary. She had her big binder. She had a question for everything. She took no guff from nobody. And now we got this Jennifer Psaki in there circling back and wanting questions ahead of time. Oh, man.
You're fired up about it.
I really am. I took for granted Kayleigh McEnany's skill. And just like she's in the den of lions and is fighting off all these wild beasts that were the White House press corps there. Of course, this Trump administration had a lot to answer to. But now we've just got Jennifer Psaki just circling around.
Well,
circling back.
Circling back. I wasn't expecting much different, but yeah, it's interesting that, and I almost wonder if the stance taken by the media here isn't in reaction to a lot of what Trump exposed of them, and maybe just to try to save face, because if
you'd like to think so.
Well, I mean, obviously it's not 100% because you still have your, what color curtain did Biden kibble put in the or whatever right. Nonsense milquetoast story, but.
Right.
At least they're trying to give the impression that they're non-biased journalists, in this age of propaganda.
Yeah,
machinery.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope they don't let Biden off the hook. I mean, I know a lot of people, of course, the Trump era in the media was its own beast. And of course, nobody expects the media to, treat Biden the same way or to use the same rigor. But I don't know. This gave me a little bit of hope. We'll see, though. You could see at the end of this article, they're already making excuses as to why, Psaki should get preloaded questions. The thing about Kayleigh McEnany, again, I don't want to necessarily make this the Kayleigh McEnany show, but I was just so I don't know. I was just so baffled by the difference between these two. It had never occurred to me, and I'd never really paid that much attention or given that much credit to White House press secretaries. But after what the Trump press secretaries had to go through, I have a lot more respect for that position than I ever did.
Yeah.
And Kayleigh McEnany, I believe, went to Harvard and was very accomplished, very smart lady. I'm looking here at Jennifer Psaki's background here. College of William and Mary. You know what that is?
Nope.
Neither do I.
Some college started by Bill and Mary.
Bill and Mary. The College of William and Mary. I've never even heard a school that has that naming convention.
Is Mary just like a pseudonym for Hillary?
Yeah.
All right, that's a joke. Okay.
Public Research University in Williamsburg, Virginia. Okay. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Titus Frost.
I'm told it's good. Titus Frost says it's
a good
good.
College.
So.
Yeah. I guess people on the West Coast, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on here. There's a couple stories we got to fly through here, but pretty crazy stuff here. First off, this is from NPR.org. Former CIA officer treat domestic extremism as an insurgency.
Oh, great.
Yeah. When it comes to domestic extremism, such as those who stormed the Capitol, a longtime CIA officer argues that the U.S. should treat them as an insurgency. That means using counterinsurgency tactics, similar in some ways to those used in the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Oh, great.
Robert Grenier served as the CIA's station chief for Pakistan and Afghanistan in 2001. He went on to become the CIA's Iraq mission manager and then director of the CIA Counterterrorism Center from 2004 to 2006. Quote, "We may be witnessing the dawn of a sustained wave of violent insurgency within our own country, perpetrated by our own countrymen," Grenier wrote in the New York Times last week. New York Times, of course, owned by China. And without national action, he argues, extremists who seek a social apocalypse are capable of producing endemic political violence of a sort not seen in this country since Reconstruction.
Wow.
Oh, man. It was very...
This is very concerning.
It is. Because it takes all the things that we were saying might happen literally in the mouth of a guy who's ex-CIA in public on NPR, just to scare everybody.
Wow.
And it goes into the interview here, and we don't have to go through the interview. I think you get the gists of the story here. But I like how they always say, like, former CIA officer, ex-CIA officer. You're blood oath. You're in that level. I don't think you're just like, oh,
as
I'm
if you're
not
ever
really.
out, right?
Yeah. So there you go. Look out. We all know that it was a big psyop or a false flag event to set up conservatives or right-leaning people or Christians eventually, but it seems like that is the road. And to suggest treating that, like, what are we talking about here? It's interesting too. When this story was shared on Twitter, under NPR's own tweet, there were lots of people that seemed to be liberal leftist saying like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. What are we talking about here? Are we talking about knocking down people's doors and arresting? Like, what do you mean? So
it's
again,
bringing the eternal, the never-ending war that is the war on terrorism is now coming to American soil. They're bringing this. I mean, the war on terror, or the war on terror proper, starting in the early 2000s. I think, of course, as a response to 9/11. I don't know if the actual quote-unquote war on terror, it either started 3 months after that, or for some reason 2003 is ringing a bell. Or whatever it is.
Different levels. It was kind of happening before then too, but it wasn't. They didn't have as much of an excuse to really get in there with the military, but it's kind of in the rumbles.
I don't know exactly what the tactics that they're planning on using, but even bringing that mentality, bringing the mindset back, and pointing it towards American people is just the most disturbing thing.
Yeah, goes to show this is part of the plan all along. And if that wasn't enough, here we go. This is mynews4.com.
Yay! This one is a big old called it, Gons.
I know. Yeah.
Here we go. mynews4.com.
Nevada bill would allow tech companies to create governments.
Called it. We get the corporate city-state technocracy, folks. Mind if I read this one through?
Go for it, yep.
Planned legislation to establish new business areas in Nevada would allow technology companies to effectively form separate local governments. Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak announced a plan to launch so-called innovation zones in Nevada to jumpstart the state's economy by attracting technology firms. Las Vegas Review-Journal reported Wednesday the zones would permit companies with large areas of land to form governments carrying the same authority as counties, including the ability to impose taxes, form school districts and courts, and provide government services. The measure to further economic development with the, quote, alternative form of local government has not yet been introduced in the legislature. Sisolak pitched the concept in his State of the State address delivered January 19th. The plan would bring in new businesses at the forefront of, quote, groundbreaking technologies without the use of tax abatements or other publicly funded incentive packages that previously helped Nevada attract companies like Tesla. Sisolak named Blockchains LLC.
Blockchain.
as a company that had committed to developing a smart city in an area east of Reno after the legislation has passed. The draft proposal said the traditional local government model is inadequate alone to provide. The traditional local government model is inadequate to provide the resources to make Nevada a leader in attracting and retaining businesses and fostering economic development in emerging technologies and industries. The Governor's Office of Economic Development would oversee applications for the zones, which would be limited to companies working in specific business areas, including blockchain, autonomous technology, the Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, wireless, 5G, biometrics, and renewable resource technology. Zone requirements would include applicants owning. Okay, so here's the requirements for a corporation to create their own government in Nevada. Zone requirements would include applicants owning at least 78 square miles of undeveloped. Yeah, that's a pretty big plot.
That's a big chunk of land.
Yeah, undeveloped, uninhabited land within a single county, but separate from any city, town, or tax increment area. Companies would have at least $250 million and plans to invest additional $1 billion in their zones over 10 years. The zones would initially operate with the oversight of their location counties, but would eventually take over county duties. Sheriff, hello. Oh my gosh, I've got to become sheriff of Blockchain Town. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I got to make a call. Stop the show. Take over county duties and become independent governmental bodies. The zones would have 3-member supervisory boards, the council, with the same powers as county commissioners. The businesses would maintain significant control over board membership. So the corporation is it's crazy. The corporation controls this town from top to bottom. The Governor's Economic Development Office did not respond to questions about the zones on Wednesday. So there you go, Gons. The apocalyptic future of corporate city-states battling it out in the deserts of Nevada is only years away. This is, first of all, the biggest called it moment, that the one I am most proud of, because, you know, predicting corporate city states is a pretty wild sci-fi apocalypse movie idea. But this is being pushed by the governor. This is not like weird, you know, side project of some Senate member or something. This is the head of the state saying that this is what's going to happen. So there you go. If you are a corporation, you have $250 million and you got a big plot of land, you can literally create your own government, have the powers of the county, which include law enforcement, courts, school districts, everything. This is the most apocalyptic thing that's happened recently, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I outlined in Age of Deceit 3, if you go watch that film, is that, and I was, you know, theorizing, admittedly, at the time, but it seemed to make sense that the beast that comes out of the sea in Revelation 13, which is a conglomerate of the lion, bear, leopard that's mentioned in Daniel 7, throughout history, people have, you know, oh, it's Persia, oh, it's a nation, right? And I proposed that it would be corporations, not just nation states. And my whole thesis was the trajectory we are on, and this film was back in 2017, so it was pretty obvious even back then. The trajectory that we're on is that nation states, as they currently stand, are practically obsolete. Right. And the corporate state, or a techno corporate state, is what's emerging. And in that regard, this story is like called it multiple ways. But also, the other part of this, we had a story a few weeks ago about Bill Gates owning 242,000 acres, which I did some calculations. It's about 378 square miles.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got enough to start.
Wait, how much did you just say?
378 square miles.
No, it was the acres.
242,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's, he has enough to spin up, almost 5 different corporation states in America. So
all these guys can do it.
No wonder Bill Gates on Nevada right now. But
yeah.
I'm sure this is something that, should it be successful, will start to spread around.
And notice how this is specifically geared to smart city situations.
Yeah.
So these are little petri dishes for smart city technology, and it's including, well, the company has to be working in specific business areas: blockchain, autonomous technology, Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, wireless, biometrics, renewable resource technology. So it's all smart city technologies. Not just anybody can just, any rich guy start his own, government. This is specifically forward-thinking tech, panopticon, smart city companies. And they're basically can just make it's one thing to allow them to, build the infrastructure of a city and, test out their technology and all this kind of stuff. It's another thing to give them full government control at the level of a county, law enforcement, courts, schools, all that kind of stuff. And it does harken back to the company store thing. I saw somebody in the chat mention that, which is back in the days of the robber barons and the mining and the railroad companies, the steel industry in America, the sort of golden age of industry. This sort of happens because, in the mining and different industries where it's kind of far out of town, you're working at a mine that's, maybe 100 miles from the nearest town. The little towns would spring up, and all the town would work at the company, and they'd all live in the town that was created by the company. And a lot of these guys, they would just get paid in, I forget what they're called, but basically the company would have its own currency, and it would pay the workers in its own currency, which means they would have to shop at the company store. And so it created this basically a prison. It was basically, slavery, and you would pay the workers in a currency that they couldn't do anything with. So they'd be trapped in the sort of company town there with no currency that they could take outside the town. And this is basically just the futuristic version of that. That being said, definitely need to become sheriff of Blockchain Town.
Right.
It's the Wild West all over again.
It is.
And Nevada already kind of has a problem with there's only 2 major metropolitan areas in Nevada, which is Las Vegas, obviously, and then Reno, mentioned in this article here. And the most of the rest of Nevada is just empty desert for the most part. And so this is also a great way for Nevada, the governor at least, to try to settle a lot of the desert, which is, real desert. There's no water, no trees, no nothing. It's kind of more or less kind of useless land, except for testing nuclear bombs.
We need to come up with, we've gotten emails we've joked about the Canary Cry commune, and then we've gotten emails from people just saying, are you guys serious about the Canary Cry commune? Because I'm in. We should at least buy some land, some desert land, because they're pretty cheap, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure they're pretty cheap
you can
out there.
After this happened, after I saw this, I kind of started looking at land out in Nevada.
Yeah, and just to have, even if
you get hundreds of acres for under $100,000.
Yeah, and then sell them off to these big tech moguls that want to try to, or at least make deals with them to make sure
that's
that
an interesting angle too, because most of the I mean, most of the land is just, BLM government land,
That's
Bureau
not.
of Land
That's not.
Management.
Yeah, I was gonna say just for
Bureau of
listeners
Land
out
Management.
there. Yeah.
But, there are people who own just massive swaths of basically useless land in Nevada. And maybe the governor, is just trying to help his buddies offload some land, sell a few thousand acres to Elon Musk or something.
Yeah, that's a really. I'm getting text messages from my wife about what she wants to do when she retires. And
Well,
I'm gonna text back.
does she
We're
wanna
gonna
go
be
to Nevada?
landowners.
Come
We're gonna
on.
sell. We're gonna create our own state,
Yeah,
our own
well,
government. What do you think?
So
What do you
for
think,
those,
wifey?
yeah, well, see,
You and
that's
I will rule a whole state.
Oh, careful now.
Government.
See, that's the little bit of the difference. I was going to say, making a Canary Cry commune, you can just kind of do that wherever. You don't need $250 million and, a technocracy panopticon to do that. However, I mean, to really do this where you have the authority of the county and can do your own law enforcement and courts and things like that and not have too much outside interference. Yeah, we're going to need to raise 250 mil plus the price of land, which, 250.1 mil. And I think we can do it. So Canarians out there, if you want to get into this, send us an email, canarycryradio@protonmail.com. We can start our own, apocalypse corporation city. And we just need some financiers. Elon, if you're listening to this, hit me up, buddy.
I'm looking at some plots of land in Nevada. You got 25 acres for $50,000.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can get a lot of land in Nevada for pretty cheap. Now, there's no water,
nothing
or
happening
trees,
there
or anything. You got to do a lot of work to make it habitable. But
well, if you're gonna blockchain it up with some biotech and 5G,
just blockchain the water in.
Who needs just blockchain the water? Oh, Grace, please make that a quote so that we can blockchain the water into the city.
There you go.
Into the
Blockchain will
desert.
save us all. All right. So there you go. This was big news, especially in the context of what we've been talking about for years. And, what makes me more giddy than anything? I love that there are long-time listeners that have been listening for years. And, they hear all the crazy, silly stuff and, our crazy predictions. And then this happens. And they're the first people to have all the dots connected. And that must be a pretty fun feeling.
Yeah. Well, somebody in the chat mentioned Doge. Maybe one of these little tech states, governments are going to use Dogecoin.
Well, that's how you fund it. Well, I guarantee you that an angle of, blockchains alone, I don't think this is their angle, but I am absolutely positive that there will be an angle for a corporation where, they want the land, and the plan is to use, 1,000 acres to create solar powered crypto mining. And that's how they're going to pay for the whole thing.
Yep.
Gento Bean in Twitch chat says, Canary Cry manifest destiny.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. Let's zoom through some of these other stories here. This one's from express.co.uk. EU power grab alert. Macron, VDL, and Merkel plot to exploit COVID to reforge alliance.
Classic.
Yeah. The giant red bar. Breaking news. Come home, Harry. Prince Harry laid back in rare video as fans praise special rugby video. Why is that
special rugby video?
Why is that
what a
breaking
very special
news?
Rugby video, son.
I don't know. Breaking news. Whatever. Okay. This actually this story comes with. I was looking for a quote that really jumped out at me. Maybe I can find it here, but. Real briefly,
I'm looking at the chat. We've got some pretty skilled people who are interested in Canary Cry Town.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. Here for the wailing avian This is raised beef. I got it. I think we got a beef farmer here,
Oh, yes.
beef rancher. Yeah,
Yes.
skills.
We better get on that
skills,
too.
people. We need
Yeah.
your skills. We need a blacksmith.
Oh my gosh,
need
this is like our dream. This is like our SimCity dream come true in real life. This is awesome.
We need a blacksmith. We need a stable boy. We need some. That's it. We need construction guys. We need that too.
Do we need to get that flippy arm on a truck that builds brick houses?
That's probably the most cost-effective way. We would have a very complicated string of legislation about do we allow Flippy in? Do we allow Flippy in, but he can't be a citizen? He has to.
We would have
keep robots. That's
we would have
the motto.
We would have an open self-deconstruct button policy where anybody, if they feel threatened or feel like the machines have crossed some kind of moral boundary, they can just hit the button and the robots self-destruct.
Oh my gosh, this is happening, man. We got
fiber optics.
Flippy official is an auto electrician. We have a gardener.
3D printers.
We've got data security. We're going to need that.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Box can fit pipes.
Malik says he can build nukes.
Well, okay. I mean, maybe that's sort of a stage 2 county project, but
keep out them other folk. We're gonna have an super iron dome.
You know what? We could do the whole thing underground. We can make our own deep underground base.
Our own flat Earth. We'll have our own rotating sun and moon.
We need somebody who can drive a excavator.
Yeah, we need to talk to Elon to get that what is that, boring company?
Yeah, maybe Elon will donate a tunnel.
Yeah, donate a tunnel, Elon. Come on. Yeah. Or at least the thing that
Come on, Elon.
Come on,
step
Elon.
up, bro. Okay, let's keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to this story other than the 5 leaders, which are European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and she had some interesting things to say at the Davos meeting as well. German President Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron were joined by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and Macky Sall, President of Senegal. And the 5 of them called for global politics to be based on multilateralism and the rule of law, which we know is another way to say a new world order. They keep talking about the rule of law. Rule of law. I mean, Trump mentioned that, used that as well.
Yeah.
But, they wrote, the very grave global crisis of the pandemic is also an opportunity to regain consensus on an international order through cooperation, solidarity, and coordination. An order based on multilateralism and the rule of law. The COVID-19 crisis is the greatest test for generations for global solidarity. It reminds us of something obvious. In the face of a pandemic, our own health protection is only as strong as the weakest link in the global chain. I mean, my goodness, this is just like, who wrote this? It's almost as if these like conspiracy theory exposers wrote the document and they're like, here, take this. And they're like, oh, it sounds fantastic. And they published it openly.
Right.
But there you go. This is happening in the EU. They're trying to conglomerate over there.
Classic
it's all merging
EU.
into one big thing. This one was
real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't get it off my mind. So this new corporate city-state law in Nevada, it's kind of like rich guys. It's a rich guy commune.
Yeah, that's
or girl. It's like a commune, but it's got all the trappings of like if a billionaire started a commune. Because a traditional commune, a billionaire doesn't have any benefit there. It's just a real commune. You're just growing corn and trading for rabbit pelts with your friends. But if you're a billionaire and you want to live that commune life, you might as well just have governmental authority and go big.
Yeah, well, especially if they have money. Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. but now you can make its laws too.
I feel like this is what I was born for, Gons.
Really?
Please, if there's any billionaires out there, hit me up. Let's make this happen. I mean, we don't even need the billionaires. So don't get me wrong, folks. I'm looking at the list of skills going in the chat. We got this. We got this under control. We have a forklift driver. Oh my gosh. But if there are any billionaires, hit me up. Just make me the sheriff. I just want to be sheriff.
Are you going to ride a horse?
A robot horse.
Robot horse. Or you're going to be in your mech. That's your.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Sheriff
future.
Basil. Sheriff Basil in his mecha suit. Oh my gosh. This is what I was born for. All right, let's keep moving.
All right. ABC News. CEO of social media app Parler says board fired him. John Matz says he's been fired as CEO of Parler, which was among social media services used to plan. I don't know, to plan the January. Well, here's what it says, which was among the social media services used to plan the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol by supporters of then President Donald Trump. So, I mean, literally, Parler is being framed as. And it says among social media services, unlike Twitter or Facebook, those guys aren't responsible for this.
Yeah,
but it's just ridiculous.
Well, I'm curious because I mean, Parler was doing great as far as user count and things like that. Now, if it was his idea to use an AWS infrastructure and not build their own hardware, then yeah, he should be fired for that.
Yeah, and Parler board controlled by Rebecca Mercer. Is that from the Mercer family?
It's the Mercer box. It's the Do Androids Dream of Electric Sleep?
Oh yeah, that too. But I think Mercer's a pretty powerful family. They were actually, I think the Mercer family was part of the reason why Trump won in 2016. They had donated a large sum of money to. I mean, they're not like super rich, but I think they're billionaires. And they supported Trump and his campaign. And they pulled out of supporting Trump in, I think, 2018 maybe. So that makes sense that Parler would be supported by the Mercers. But
man, interesting.
Bad job on choosing infrastructure. Maybe use some of that cash to build better infrastructure for a social media site and not use Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just silly.
Yeah. Moving on here. This is USA Today.
I got this one here.
Go for it.
House removes Representative Majorie Taylor Greene from the from committees over incendiary social media posts. It happened. They literally deplatformed a representative. The Democratic-led House Thursday voted mostly along party lines to remove Georgia GOP Representative Majorie Taylor Greene from her two committees following a charged floor debate rife with finger pointing and threats of repercussions. The vote was 230 to 199, with 11 Republicans joining every Democrat in stripping her from the Education and Labor Committee and the Budget Committee for a litany of incendiary, conspiratorial, and menacing social media posts before she was elected. The floor debate in a chamber already riven by division and mistrust turned raw as lawmakers took turns arguing not just about Greene's particular conduct, but what it said about House members who demanded or objected to her punishment. At one point, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, DMD, what's MD? Maryland? Walked the well of the House floor holding a poster board depicting a since-removed Facebook campaign ad by Greene showing her holding an assault weapon next to photos of three Democratic representatives. Oh, boy. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, part of a group known as Part of the Squad. The ad read, "Squad's worst nightmare." Ooh, that is pretty intense. Quote, I urged my colleagues to look at that image and tell me what message you think it sends. Hoyer said as he addressed his Republican colleagues, imagine your faces on this poster.
Oh my gosh.
Weirdo. Calling it a move by the cancel culture, Republicans countered that one party had no right to forcibly remove another member of the other party from committees without bipartisan consent. Quote, this resolution sets a dangerous new standard that will only deepen division within this House, said House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican from California. Quote, for all their talk about norms and institutions, it's the Democrats who've acted to undermine the people's house at every turn. And then there you go. I mean, that's the long and short of it. But, this was kind of interesting because, she gets deplatformed, which basically means she just does the main votes. Like, she's not involved in anything else, really. And, I was thinking about it. And to a degree, this seems like the perfect situation. If I was going to be in the House of Representatives, not having any extra jobs, just get to show up for the main ones. Sounds like a pretty cush gig.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Facebook post here, and, they got the big board, the blown up picture of it, pointing at it and stuff. And, it's more, I would just say good marketing. Know your audience, good marketing.
It worked.
It worked.
Whatever it was, it worked.
It's not as inflammatory as they're making it out to be. But of course, they nitpick at everything.
It certainly doesn't look great.
It's not a great look for sure, but it's not. I don't think it's as.
I mean, all things considered, what we know now, I think if she knew what she knew now back then, it was a very strong statement, but certainly has different connotations after January 6th and other things.
Right. All right. Well, she's still there though, right? Or is she just completely removed?
No, she's there. She's just not on committees.
So what does she do?
She just has a cush gig.
Nice.
I think she still votes in like the main votes that go on, but that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah.
He's a Satanist.
This is a very interesting story too. This is from starobserver.com.au, Australia. Noose Temple of Satan supports conversion practices ban. And it says here, being debated today in the upper house of Victorian Parliament is a historic bill which would finally see the state abolish harmful conversion practices. While the numbers are there to see these changes finally passed into law, the debate will no doubt be an ugly and divisive one. Support for the changes to conversion practices currently being debated by the Victorian government has come many corners of the country, with organizations, activists, and individuals all vocal in their support, including the newly formed religious organization, the Noose Temple of Satan. Speaking with Star Observer in October last year, Brother Samuel Demogorgon explained that
Demogorgon.
Is it Gorgon?
Yeah, it's a reference to a monster.
Oh, Demogorgon. Is that the
Dungeons
Stranger
and Dragons.
Things? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Explained that the organization, quote, was established in response to the Morrison government's proposal for a religious discrimination bill, and that, quote, it was a satanic activist response to that highlighted the hypocrisy of religious people, be they gay or straight. And it goes on here, and in the quote, disappointingly, these faither leaders, I don't know if they just meant faith leaders, did not seek input from the Noose Temple of Satan, which represents the fastest growing religion in Australia, as part of their multi-faith lobbying effort. And this is in response to a Christian faith leader, let's see. Abandoning or trying to abandon the change or suppression of the conversion prohibition bill.
What is this conversion prohibition?
So, the same stuff that I think Rand Paul or other people, maybe it was other politicians, have been blamed, like, oh, they're in favor of conversion therapy, like if you're homosexual tendencies or whatever. Oh, we're gonna fix you. We're gonna make you straight.
Conversion in that way. I thought they were talking
it's
about
not just that though.
Converting to Christianity or converting
it's all
religions.
Forms. It's all forms of conversion.
Okay.
Because it goes in here and it talks about all kinds of different things. For example, this is the Noose Temple of Satan guy. He says, it's a very dangerous practice, conversion therapy. It has resulted in death. Anything can prevent people from getting into harmful situations we are fully supportive of. Conversion practices are by nature coercive and happen within an imbalance of power. People find themselves in a situation where they are not empowered to make decisions themselves, and their bodily autonomy, which is really important for safeness. And then there's a part here that I really jumped out at me. Oh, here we go. Aside from outlawing conversion practices from within secular settings, the proposed bill prohibits, quote, carrying out a religious practice, including but not limited to a prayer-based practice, a deliverance practice, or an exorcism, a point Demogorgon explicitly mentions in their letter addressed to Andrews. So they're like banning deliverance ministries in general, which is kind of nuts. And then this quote here, quote, in particular, the Noose Temple of Satan welcomes the inclusion in the legislation of Section 5.3, which identifies exorcisms as one of the, quote, change or suppression practices that would be banned. We see demonic possession as being crucial to helping us maintain a stable membership base and to spreading Satanism throughout the land. The performance of exorcisms to drive Satan out of people's souls is a direct threat to our aims.
Demonic power!
You don't find that ridiculous?
I mean, it's very interesting. It's yeah. So there now, is this specifically with like gay conversion stuff?
No, it's every. That's why I said that it started with that conversation, but within it includes anything that's.
So what I heard from what you just read was it was still about the gay conversion, but basically you can't do an exorcism on a gay person. You can't pray for the gay person to not be gay, and you can't, deliver whatever the deliverance version of that would be.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's just in general, any kind of conversion practice that includes. I mean, conversion can also mean like deliverance ministries, just in general.
Right. I'm just so curious because it's so unclear. Like, what exactly do they mean by
conversion practices?
Are they specifically talking about conversion practices?
I don't think so. I think they're talking about.
You can't ask somebody if they want to be a Christian.
I don't know if it's to that level, but I mean that's different from these types of ministries where people are struggling with what they believe might be demons or something like that, or hauntings or something like that. I don't know, but I just think it's hilarious that this guy is like, oh, we see demonic possession as being crucial to helping us maintain a stable membership base and is spreading Satanism throughout the land.
Right.
The performance of exorcisms to drive Satan out of people's souls is a direct threat to our aims. I'm sure he's being a little tongue-in-cheek, but
yeah,
still it's kind of like, come on, that's just ridiculous. Like, we support this law because we are against this idea of demons being delivered from people.
Yeah, well, the Temple of Satan loves.
I know they're kind of joking.
Loves their sort of their. I don't know what to call it. It's not quite satire, but
it's a mocking.
Yeah, again, for those who might need a reminder, the Temple of Satan or the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan are two different things with, they claim, two different sort of ideas about what Satanism is.
Right. One's atheistic.
One is atheistic and uses religion to almost like an art project. They use, worshiping Satan as like a, I don't know what to call it. As a statement rather than believing in actual Satan. While I believe it's the Church of Satan that is what we traditionally think of as Satanism.
Yeah.
Worshipping an actual literal Satan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty. Somebody in the chat said that this actually passed.
Yeah,
in their area.
I think that's what That's what the story is about.
Oh, so this isn't even like we're trying to do this to make a statement. They actually did it. Oh my gosh.
That's why it's pretty intense. And of course, it's started with the LGBTQ conversation of conversion, but that topic quickly goes into all areas of spiritual matters, fairly quickly. And if you're going to ban stuff like that, I mean, what's I don't know. I guess it's almost like you can't equate, having LGBTQ type of tendencies to being demonically possessed or something. I don't know.
I think they are specifically talking about conversion in the gay conversion therapy things. Because I'm looking at this, the actual letter, an open letter written to Premier Daniel Andrews. In particular, the Noose Temple of Satan welcomes the inclusion in the legislation of Section 5.3, which identifies exorcisms as one of the change or suppression practices that would be banned. So yeah, these conversions being change or suppression practices. I don't think it specifically mentions gay conversion therapy or what, but yeah, it seems like any sort of deliverance type of thing you're talking about.
I think that's where the conversation starts. And
we see demonic possession as being crucial to helping us maintain a stable membership base. Yeah, wow. Huh, wow, very interesting. Australia, man.
Yeah, this is why we need our own commune.
Yeah.
our own state.
It's Newsom science, baby!
Politico.com. His polls are sinking. Democrats are mobilizing. The Newsom recall just got real. Oh, man.
Did it really?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
California Governor Gavin Newsom doesn't want to talk about the recall, but his allies can't ignore it. The campaign to oust Newsom from unlikely to unavoidable this week as pervasive frustration with Newsom's pandemic management cut sharply into his approval numbers.
Wow.
The longer businesses have been closed, hospitals full, and school campuses shut, the more the movement has gained traction beyond conservative social media circles. There you go. It's reaching the Democrats. The nation's biggest Democratic vulnerability after a score of blue victories has become an irresistible nightly feature on Fox News. Should the effort qualify, look for money to pour into the state and celebrities to add their name to the ballot, if only for the promotional benefit. Newsom still deflects questions about the opposition effort by saying he is singularly focused on vaccinating Californians and reducing COVID-19 spread. He has adamantly denied that his abrupt decision to reverse stay-at-home orders last month was an attempt to quell voter frustration, and he seemed determined to avoid legitimizing the effort by acknowledging it. But California Democrats and their political backers are bracing for a campaign nevertheless as recall organizers turn in hundreds of thousands of signatures. State lawmakers are proclaiming their support for Newsom, seeking to tamp down any signs of disunity. Interest groups and donors who would be called upon to fund a recall defense are quietly ramping up, with one union launching the first public counteroffense. Quote, "We're getting prepared to oppose it, of course," said Joe Kottchet, a longtime ally and donor to Newsom. Nearly 18 years ago, California, we know about the history a little bit here. The recall could still fail to qualify. The deadline to certify is March 17th, and the campaign is still operating on a shoestring budget by statewide campaign standards, relying on volunteers and some paid mail to collect the 1.5 million valid signatures they need. Proponents claim they have 1.3 million total signatures. That's a lot. Still a ways off the nearly 2 million they will likely need to compensate for invalid signatories. So it's picking up steam. I got my letter in the mail, and I haven't signed it yet, but it looks like it's getting pretty close, so I might as well. Although I'm going against my own nature to want to play this jingle more often, the Newsom science. But and it was interesting because on Bill Maher, Bill Maher show, he's kind of an outspoken Democrat. I think he might be an atheist too, but he was on there, and he recently had been bashing Newsom and the Democrats and everything quite a bit on his show. And then in the middle of his show, he was kind of like, he did this thing where he was like, yeah, but this whole recall thing, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. And then I wish I had the clip. Van Jones, you know, the Mr. Nothing Burger guy from CNN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's there and he goes, oh, this recall thing is a QAnon started thing. He says it's a QAnon thing with zero proof whatsoever. I don't even think he understands what QAnon is.
Right.
Let alone,
well, yeah, they don't need to. It's just a dog whistle at this point.
I know, but it was just wild. But it's hilarious how, you know, Bill Maher stuck between, oh my gosh, the state is falling apart, and don't recall Newsom. Don't do it. And Van Jones, it's a QAnon conspiracy. So anyway,
that's
it's all
hilarious.
Newsom science.
Okay.
Newsom science, baby! Ha!
Good luck, Newsom. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, yes.
All right,
let's
well,
get out of
sounds
here.
good. We ready to get out of here?
Yeah, I need to get out of here.
Oh, yeah, we're
quick.
very late. Oh,
Very,
my
very late.
gosh.
Yeah, super late.
All right, folks, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Now, remember, we're going to be circling back on Monday, February 8th. That's right, Monday, February 8th. We're getting better and better every one of these new early shows, but we're going to keep trying to get on around 9:30-ish. That's the schedule. Deal with it. So remember to come back around and meet us on Monday, February 8th at 9:30-ish in the morning. Other than that, we want to thank all of our producers for this show, Canary Cry News Talk, episode 296. That is producers DNS, Larry, Carter, Mike, Shayna, Mike, Alicia, Jennifer, Maureen, Isaac, Rachel, Marcia, and Saul. Thank you so much for becoming producers of this episode. Remember, folks, the value for value model, we're only able to keep doing the show because listeners just like you step up and become producers. We also want to thank all of our artists for today, as well as Jade Bouncer Sim for the timestamps. Remember, if you haven't done it yet, leave a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. That helps out a lot. And before you go anywhere, before you leave YouTube, remember to give a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications.
Am I supposed to hit something? Sorry.
Jingle it up.
Am I supposed to?
Subscribe.
Oh, yes.
Subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
I'm losing my edge.
It's okay.
I need a blockchain.
We need some sugar. We need the blockchain you some sugar. So thank you to everybody who helped make this show possible today. Now, there's other ways to support the show, not just financially. If that's not in the cards for you, you can create art. You can create jingles or full-on songs. We'll be playing the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show. So remember to send all of those things to canarycryradio@protonmail.com if you like the privacy thing, or canarycryradio@gmail.com if you like it easy. You can also help out the show by spreading it around. Remember, we're doing our February Canary Cry raffle for a 1 troy ounce silver coin, so generously provided by producer. Gonna have to remember this. Aaron. Producer Aaron. Aaron Moffat. Make sure to search for Aaron Moffat on YouTube. They've been doing videos on scripture, eschatological conversations, precious metals, and crypto. So thank you very much, producer Aaron, for that. And remember, you can post about the show on your social media. Remember the 3 requirements: a call to action, let them know how great the show is, tell them to listen. You got to do the hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and you got to put a link to some Canary Cry media material for them to interact with. And you can do that as much as you want during the February raffle here. And go ahead and if you want to doubly make sure your posts get counted, you can email those to canarycryradio@gmail.com or canarycryradio@protonmail.com. Just to double check. make sure it gets on the list. So there you go. Also, remember, you got friends and family who are starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And you can help them out and help us out by go aheading and sending them an episode. Send them a link to either the YouTube or the Twitch. Pick an episode you think they might like. Maybe it's this one. This one was pretty fun, right? Or go ahead and tell them to subscribe on the podcast feed. Check it out. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Go out there and rattle some cages, everybody. Okie dokie, Gons. Any last words?
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys, all the producers out there, so we don't have to sell waffles, even though
everybody loves waffles.
That's right. And remember, we'll be circling back on Monday, February 8th, somewhere around 9:30 in the morning. So put it on your calendar there. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
You can't handle the truth.
Demonic power.
We will launch a new age.
Хотите зеркало?
This is deep.
Burn it all.
It will kill.
Sinful generation.
Hallelujah.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
As they expose Babylon, there's a line drawn. started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered. Just put me on some, I don't know.
You get shot in the butt.
Fluoride.
Oxytocin.
Get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right, weird.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Polytick.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all away.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Left wing, right wing, 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 left wing, right wing.
Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Same bird.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood.
Politic.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. It might seem scary, so frightening. Get ready.
find something I ain't got all day. Get on my YouTube, debates like the sun. See what's new, demonetization. Know what's this? To my surprise, I spot a big pair of googly eyes. Click on the video and turn up the sound. What is this gem that I have found? Cry radio, cry, news talk,
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.